attention somehow.
Like, that's not fair, man. You didn't even need a haircut. I think you got one just to fucking rub it in.
It's funny how everything naturally occurs within this whole chase.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So we should be live.
Oh, shoot. Hi, we're live.
Live.
Hey, don't worry about it, Ben. Smoke your cigarette. So what my beverage today is, I've got Mountain Dew infused V8 strawberry banana.
What?
Yes.
Good.
So that's it. And then I've got my Michelob Ultra. So yeah.
So this is like a non-alcoholic Bloody Mary with a beer back.
Kind of sort of like that. It's good. You should try it. Strawberry banana V8 with some Mountain Dew.
That'll perk you up, I think.
So,
I mean, every morning I have my poor man's mocha, which is 3/4 coffee, quarter milk with a lot of chocolate. Shake it up, some ice, good to go. Every morning. I have my 2 glasses of V8 juice every morning, 2 eggs, and my fiber, and I'm good to go. Every morning, except for when I'm on vacation, man.
I usually don't eat breakfast.
I know.
You don't
I'm
eat
like,
breakfast?
sometimes. I feel like it's
Oh,
like
gosh.
time.
I used to not until I started having some issues, so I had to change my diet. So that was how I changed it. And I've been great ever since. I tell them I'm going to be 60 next year. They're like, "What? There's no way you could be 60."
I just remind her to see a doctor, but Ashley's forced me to eat breakfast so she can sneak in vegetables. She puts in like, actual vegetables and the eggs and whatnot, and I have to eat it.
Yeah.
So that's a new thing.
So it looks like in the chat, Alan K has already got 2 questions for you people.
Oh, shoot. I can't see chat. So yeah, fire away.
I got it. I have 2 random questions for you guys. Number 1, how does someone like Jack in his weird Georgetown attention-seeking YouTube video want to remain anonymous? So it's funny he points that out, but I've never honestly linked those 2 things together until just now. So I live in Georgetown.
Wait, Georgetown, Maryland?
No.
Oh, okay.
Georgetown subdivision of Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
I've never even thought about that till just now. So what do you think about his question?
I mean, I think he taps into something that a lot of folks in the chase have been pondering more out loud today than ever, which is it kind of feels like Jack wanted his name out there.
Yeah. Like
from the get-go, from the beginning. Remember, this is a guy who tried to say that he valued the secrecy and I don't want to leave a paper trail as he emails from jackstuef@gmail when he could have done, I solved your 9 clues at 9 Mile Hole at Gmail to get Forrest's attention.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this, and I've pointed this out before, if you go back, I mean, the Jack story is just interesting in itself. I mean, you have to go back to the Sarah Palin incident in 2011, and that was all started not from Jack. That was started from her daughter's husband or boyfriend or whoever that was. So he just
they were mad?
Jack made a playoff of what was said by the son-in-law or the
Oh, you mean there was more nuance to the joke than meets the eye?
Yes. But Jack took all the heat for it.
Right. Yeah. Well, he took the heat, and I can't tell if it helped or hurt his career. Like, see, I don't know how you jump from clever onion writer, Wonket writer to I'm going to be a doctor. People make life choices all the time like that, but to jump to a doctor and then, oops, nope, I'm not going to be a doctor anymore because I found $1 million treasure. But then I'm also going to pay off my student loan debts to get me to that thing where I'm going to make. I think he crossed the finish line on it. I don't know, but it's like, what is he? Is he like a pediatrician in Puerto Rico right now?
Who knows? So, and then that's the other thing too is Jack participated in the Chris Angel treasure hunt, didn't he?
He says he did, yeah.
because we know Sassy.
One of our own. Yeah,
Yeah,
one of our
yeah.
own solved it. So it's interesting
Yeah.
he brought it up. Yeah. I always found that curious because how old would he have been during the Chris Angel treasure hunt?
Oh,
When
late
was it? What year?
25, 26, maybe.
Really?
He was
I thought
32.
when did the Chris Angel end or start? Sorry.
You know what? I don't know if that was during the Fenn treasure hunt or not. I really
I
don't
have
know.
no idea about this.
Me either. What's the Chris Angel hunt?
I
So-
have never.
Chris Angel did $100,000 treasure hunt. I don't know many details even beyond that, but I do know one of the vocal people in the community during the chase had won it, and they had gone through a lot of what was it, vexatious litigation. Like they got sued even over the $100,000. Like it was a nightmare. And they told that story kind of during the 2020 timeframe on some of the YouTubes. But what was the name, Brian, of the person who did it?
Chris Angel.
No, the person who won it. Sorry.
Oh, Sassy. I can't think of what her name is now.
Yeah.
Her handle is Sassy something.
But she definitely told her story on YouTube's. It wasn't even just like on posts, and it was verified. Like, and she won it. It was $100,000, and supposedly, I thought the Chris Angel hunt was like in 2006.
So it wasn't Chris Angel. Alan K corrected me. It's David Blaine.
Oh, David Blaine. Why are we going Chris Angel?
They're both magicians.
Yeah, fine, whatever. David Blaine. Fair enough. But okay, but I still believe that was like maybe 2006-ish.
Yeah, I don't know.
And if it's 2006, I think Jack is 18, 17. Like if he was 30, how old was he when the Forrest Fenn hunt ended in 2020? He was 32.
He was going to be 32 in August.
So if the David
correct.
Blaine hunt, so David Blaine hunt would put him at like, I guess you could be into it at 18. I don't know if he was 18, but it would be very young. It's a young Jack Stuef who was into it, apparently. I had never even heard about it when it happened.
Yeah. Alan says 2004.
2004? I was 20. So that would mean, okay, so 2020 was 4 years ago. I was 36. I'm 4 years older than Jack. So Jack would be 16 years old when the David Blaine hunt started.
Huh?
Yeah. And that's the hunt he references to say, oh, I was a treasure hunter before Forrest Fenn stuff anyways. Like almost to gain credibility with a community that has a direct tie into that hunt because part of our community won that hunt.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is. So number 2 question that Alan asked, can you explain the Pam medium email thing? Well, no, because we don't even know what it is.
I think what Alan knows is what we know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is
Every time I hear Pam's name, I just think of Map. Like I don't
Pam
know.
Map. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look, it's
I don't know.
interesting to have non-Fenn treasure hunters in here. Sorry,
No, you're
I'm talking
good.
over you.
I just think about people's names every time. Like I think of Dorothy and I think of Pam and Map, and obviously I feel like we're supposed to use these names somehow. So I don't know. I mean the whole email is weird anyways, but I don't know. I feel like she's obviously has to be that event happened on purpose. We were supposed to reference it later, kind of thing.
So
Yeah.
are you aware that she also has that? So according to her, I think Forrest pointed out to her, even though I think she did the interview. One of them pointed out, either way, Forrest talked about it. The front page, I think, of the Santa Fe, New Mexican, blah, blah, blah paper. Her solve was featured in 2014. And then now she has these emails that accidentally went to her when they were supposed to go to Shiloh, which included part of the Medium article.
Yeah.
So to say she's part, like, I think to say extreme version of what you said, she's part of the act.
Yeah.
And the idea that there would be something in the background or in the past where Forrest featured it, Forrest talked about it, he pushed it in some regard, and it's about her, that's only more evidence to your case. I don't know that she is or not, but it's interesting. Even though I think a lot of people disagree with the solve, but I don't think the solve is the point. I think it's just Forrest featured her, and then now she is magically getting these weird emails.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go back to the whole David Blaine hunt. So it was solved in 2004. So it's 2024 now, so it's 20 years ago. Jack
Mhm.
will be 36 this year. So you're right, 16 years ago, right?
Yeah. Or
So
16
he
years
would've
old.
been
Yeah.
16 years old, which is kind of weird.
I mean, maybe he was a nerd in a good way, and in a
Because
demeaning way. But
she says that she remembers Jack being part of the David Blaine thing.
the person who won it?
No. Yeah, the person who won it remembers Jack being part of it.
How does she remember Jack being part of it? She was
Maybe
talking to
the-
16-year-old Jack on the
Okay,
message boards, and she remembers this?
Maybe the Condor 2 thing. That's
But
why
the
I was getting
Condor
ready
2
to ask
didn't
you.
start. Condor 2 didn't start till 2011. Or no.
How
Okay.
many people participated in this hunt? Was it
Sorry?
a lot of people?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine it was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now I remember that David Blaine, he was he was a street magician. Was he that big in 2004 to be doing
Yes.
$100,000
Yes.
in 2004
Yes.
though? Was he?
He was well, okay, so 2004 might have been a touch early, but he was already having HBO specials. He was one of the first viral type videos that you could get on YouTube. David Blaine Street Magic was
Right.
one of the top few click videos back then.
Go
So he
Forrest
certainly had a
seems
much bigger name.
I feel you. I feels
And
like
then he
a
got all those
treasure hunt he
NBC
could have done,
specials
and
and shit.
I'm surprised he didn't do it again then, and just some sense after he did get big, just as weird and crazy he is. He's just so wild.
Well,
And
maybe he
random.
saw the lawsuits, dude. Maybe all those lawsuits are real from our
True.
solver, and he's like, "Fuck this, never doing that again."
Yeah, no, that's I don't know.
So Alan K put on there, he said David
A
Blaine,
hell of a
DB hunt.
Yeah.
Oh,
topic
geez.
to
Alan Kelly.
bring
Alan
up
Kelly, sit
and-
down,
and
Alan.
listing. I don't know. It's just crazy. Love it.
Oh, Alan's Mr. Wise Guy, isn't he?
He knows I agree with him too.
Wise guy.
Oh, Cindy Jones is here. Ashley. Hello, Ashley.
What's up, babe?
So
What's up, Fendi Jones?
What do we got going on with Stuef.com?
Oh boy, let these two talk. They know more than I do.
Exactly. I think they're both sus
No.
too.
No, I think Ben knows more than what he leads on. I'm waiting for Ben to drop some little nuggets here.
I mean,
Even I always I say that, but it's everybody. I feel like you can't trust anybody now.
it's in so many ways. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but in so many ways, this little Stuef.com experience is a microcosm of the chase. Every update feels like a scrapbook, and as soon as you get an update, you just want the next update. You want the next scrapbook. Every single update's talking to somebody, just like every scrapbook was talking to somebody. Everybody is starting to, now that they didn't right away, but 8-9 months into it, there's some cleverness going on. There's some white accounts jumping in that seem to know things or don't know things, but are acting like they know things. And this is what you got on the message boards in the chase.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't know what game I'm playing anymore. I feel like there's so many like little things that happen in the background that you have to pay attention to too. So
I mean, we haven't even figured out the last two clips yet. Have y'all
No.
been look? I don't even think the two are related. Do you?
We're behind. I don't know. I don't know if we can say that past results predict future performance. So in the past, if we didn't get a movie, we eventually got a new scene, which was directly tied to the previous scene within seconds. Now, there was no countdown associated with that. What's confusing us this time is there was a countdown and then a new scene. Is this a new movie or is this a hint on the previous scene? And I think you have to take both routes seriously, which just makes it more confusing and difficult.
Right. Oh, I agree.
Stuef admin is a sadist.
I know it's really hard too because I know I talked about it before, but I've been matching this with update 9. But in update 9, we didn't even have a movie. So the only thing I have to base that off of is the broken mirror and Indians. So because all of update 9 was just basically a lot of Indian things. And then that was whenever our TV screen turned to like the static with the number 9. So you can't really base it off the movie. You can only base it off the objects because I was able to do that with the timer and then like the clocks and stuff. So this one, it's like, okay, well, how can you relate a broken mirror with Indians? So I don't know, unless it's like some scrapbook that can connect the two or something like that.
I got to also say, I think something we've all underestimated in terms of these updates is trying to dissect the transition from nothing to TV to static to a YouTube play button and then movies. Are they trying to maybe hint to maybe what you've been saying in Discord, which is at some point these updates changed and maybe we went from clues to hints or something.
Yeah.
And could the I don't think we've dissected the static is my point. And
my best guess with the static is Leroy's video with DB Cooper. And I know I say the same points over and over, but I can't get over it. But with Leroy being in our room for so many updates, and then with his DB Cooper update, it has a few seconds of static at the very end, but none of his other videos do that. So to me, it like singles it out in a sense. And so then you have him talking about him marrying up a date. Essentially, there was an alien occurrence or whatever on the same day of DB Cooper and all these other things. So he's talking about 2 events that happened on one day. So in a sense, a cover up or whatever.
Leroy really did, like Jeremy really. I still haven't seen that video.
Okay, I'll send it to you. But it is essentially him talking about DB Cooper and how Leroy thinks that it was not actually DB Cooper, or like he thinks that was a cover up for an alien occurrence or whatever. So it was both things that are relevant to our puzzle that I think it all kind of tied back with the static to me. That why did we get static in YouTube and then immediately after we start getting Leroy? So to me, I'm like, they kind of
sure, because literally that's static in YouTube,
right?
Interesting. Okay, but then before I forget it.
No,
fast forwarding, then they took away Leroy, and that was at the request of Jeremy. For his, right.
But again, I mean, you can't trust anybody. Who knows if, he says that, but who knows if he's actually part of it too? I don't know.
I mean, he's pretty vocally against the website. A lot of people think my mods are just people who only agree with me or whatever. No. Like Jeremy, I almost called him Jeremy. Okay, could it all be an act? Fine, sure. But like he's made it pretty adamant. I have nothing to do with this. No one's told me anything. And just as a treasure hunter, I don't understand why they would make you guys go through all this and not explain anything. You guys don't even know what you're doing. Like he's been morally against it.
Right.
Yeah. So Billy Shaw Jr. put in there, it takes 2. I was thinking about that today. It takes 2. Like no, he's saying like noise, Okay, so it takes 2. Take 2. So what do you think about a movie? You just take 1, take 2, take 3 in movies. So that's a clip. They're doing a scene clip. So it's take 2. Okay, so that means like there's 2 stories.
Yeah.
We've got the Jack story, and now we're trying to get whatever Stuef.com is trying to freaking tell us. It's like act.
This is where you can.
It's act 2. Like there's another story being told. I don't know. What do you guys think on that? That's my plan.
I mean, you're exactly right. I don't know if can you hear me?
Yeah, go.
Okay, right. The channels are sort of changing in a way. If you look at it like that, that's how the other story is being told. So you have these scenes that are happening on the TV, but then you also have the scenes that are changing. There's somebody changing the scenes and they've put a ghost kind of in the chair to sort of see that they're maybe channel surfing. At the same time, they're making important things happen on the TV while something is happening. It's a flow that you get. And that way, so you can look at it in a whole nother dimension, honestly. So you have a 0 or an O until they confirm it. Well, now it's an O, but we
I think
still
they
have
did confirm it. I think they did. I think they did
They did.
confirm it.
They did. But before we were like, is it a 0 or an O? And then they gave us the answer, but that didn't help us because we also at the same time have zeros all the way down at the bottom everywhere that have been sitting there. We don't know why they're there.
Yeah.
So they're just,
Let's get it. Tell me, am I cutting you off by asking you a new question?
no, you're good.
Tell me why they are giving us all of these zeros in the countdown at the bottom of the page. Why?
I mean, it's the emphasis of zeros because that's maybe a tell of a number of some sort, right? So you have they're tapping you with 0 to get the point across, in my eyes, at this point. Because what else can you emphasize 0 with other than spelling it out directly? And if you think about it, everything narrows down to 0 or a little circle. But if you wanted to get the point across of what 0 means, clearly in the puzzle that we're dealing with in reality, there's a ring which is in the shape of an O or a 0 that is missing, and then the whole entire from beginning to the end is the beginning at the end, and the beginning is the end. You're talking about zeros, which is the whole entire theme of the chase, and they're punching it in our head because that's important. Now, why is it important? Well, you got things that are in the shape of O's and zeros that are not answered yet. And so maybe they're emphasizing that, hey, get to this answer right here. Like the missing emerald ring is sitting right here on the table, right? But we don't know anything about it in real life. Yet there's a wall there, but for some reason they're putting it in front of us to question. We can question why it's in here, but if we're in a game with what's going on out there, maybe there's a way that they're telling us, hey, you can get some answers if you figure out what's going on with this emerald ring type thing. And that's like the sleuthing that you would do. You're a journalist, right? If some journalist from CNN came out here and they were like, this is like something crazy that I think is going on, I'm going to go ahead and peer into it. They wouldn't care about any influencer in the chase of what they gave a shit about with the family. They wouldn't care about nothing. All they cared about was the answers that needed to be shown. And however they needed to get those answers is what they would do. And so maybe there's a reason why the family has reluctancy, but it's also a barrier of a game. And I don't know how you would break that other than using people that can get close to the family to figure out what's wrong or what's going on with the ring. All that means is just a O. They're just stamping it in our brains that, hey, there's a circle involved with this. It's a revolving door already, but Nick, you need to figure out why something circular is not there or not appearing, or what the answer is to that. That's just one simple thing. But that also give, like, all the pictures in the TV may give you the path to that circle that is missing in some sort of degree. That's the easiest way I could convey it at this point. But apparently zeros and O's are important, whether it be the number 15 or the number 0. The letter O, double O words, the anything that has to do with a lot of zeros or circles in one spot, or trying to convey all of those things in one spot without it being everything in the world. I mean, you could just think about it. I've thrown the ideas out there before. Like,
well, why not? Why not? Why didn't they start with zeros a long time ago then? Why now?
Because
That's
I think I think that they're sending us back into time to see what other people have said. So they can use their points to get their point across as well. Because you're talking about people that are being involved in a puzzle, no one knows the answer, but people are throwing out answers. Now, if admin needs some of that data that's correct, they could send you back into time, since we have a live feed of data that's recorded. They figure out how to code a timestamp so that you can go back and see. Whitney does it all the time. She sends it to me all the time, to where she'll figure out something in a scrapbook and it's like this part of a song, and then she'll go to a date within the Discord, and then she'll see a conversation that happened that it was the mimicking exact thing of what she was searching for in the first place. And then she'll bring it to me and she's like, hey, this is that and this is this, and then it opens my eyes and I'm like, whoa, I see what you're doing. I can see what you're seeing. I've been seeing this the whole entire time, but you're seeing it too.
I did
And
that
so,
today. I actually looked up, I was thinking about Forrest and Peggy's wedding date, 12/27/53. So I actually looked up what happened in the world 12/27/53, and Detroit played. I can't remember who they played now, but they played at the Briggs Stadium, and it was like the only thing that popped up on my Google. And so obviously that like stood out to me. Now I haven't like read in detail if anything like significant happened, but when I think Hammer,
I love that.
Today, we were talking about, I keep going back to this dang toe-to-toe contest, because all those comments started on 5/16. All like
Hey, hold on. Can we
Okay.
stop at the Kevin Costner for love of the game, perfect game, Detroit Tigers
I
for a
know.
sec? No, but I think you may have tapped into something that's been missing for me. Okay, let's put it this way. Selfishly, you've tapped into a solve I have. That this is Forrest and Peggy.
Right.
If Kevin Costner is throwing a perfect game, who in this world can throw a perfect game to us? Forrest Fenn. That's the only one. Forrest threw a perfect game. This would mean that every character maybe that we see in the TV is Forrest Fenn.
Right. I
So
know.
sorry,
No, you're good. And that's a good point, because I am always on the side of this is all about Forrest. And so it's hard for me to look at this being a searcher, because I feel like it's always been about Forrest and Peggy. So, which again, like I think about the date being, like I said, with the Briggs thing. And then with this update, it brings us back to, possibly bring us back to update 9, which if you go to update 9 and you like go back to that, you see that it was on 8/15, which, okay, lost maybe the red herring here. But if you go through the Thrill of the Chase, like if you go through the book, there's a stamp 8/15, and it's on page 140, and it's of Peggy and his girls.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, well, it all ends with Peggy and his girls. So to me, it's always marrying a past date. So again, I was looking up the wedding date, and then I started thinking about this dang toe-to-toe contest, because I think that there's something there. Just selfishly, I think that like we need to like look more into that, because all the comments started on 5/16, and so backwards that's 615, and that's Nashville to me. So I have gone through every single comment, I'm pretty sure. And I
when
feel
you
like
say 5/16, you mean the salamander posts on Thor? Or was that, or when
No.
are you talking May 16th, 2023?
No, May 16th, 2020. The toe-to-toe contest where
Oh God. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
The toe-to-toe contest that Alan won.
I was combining thoughts in my head there. Okay, gotcha.
So what do you 5/16 is like the area code for Nashville, is what you're saying?
615.
615.
Yes.
Mirrored.
Yeah. So I don't know which date it's like the most important here, but especially it being their wedding day. When I think, this brings me back to, I had a conversation with Hammer yesterday. I was like, okay, well, they have the toe-to-toe, and then we're missing our hands. And he says stuff about canasta. Okay, so it's hand and foot. So you're thinking about your hands and your feet. And when you get married, I saw someone make a comment like, when you get married, you're toe-to-toe and you're holding hands. So it's like, okay, well, it goes back to a wedding date. So I don't know. I have no idea how to apply
There's
this.
a Forrest Fenn quote that I can never forget that has something to do, I think, with it. When he said, So I don't remember the question was, but he said something to the effect of, you put your foot down and step on it. Now, a lot of people associate that, put your foot down and step on like the gas pedal or something. But if you put your foot down and then you step on your foot that you just put down, your big toe will probably go on your other big toe and your toe to toe. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
The poems, didn't they all have the same correlation between letters, and then the second, third, and fourth place winners too? In that
Yes.
toe-to-toe contest? It was a complete coincidental pattern that I don't know if it was coincidental at all.
Who won second and third?
Hold
Well,
on.
with T and T.
Yeah, all of them started with a T.
It was like Texas something. I don't remember the names either. I have it screenshot on my phone, but they all started with T. And then Alan's poem was TTTA, like the 4 lines.
Yeah. So his 4 lines started with TTTA, and then your winners all started with TTTA. So Alan was the ultimate winner, and then your second, third, and fourth place all started with a T. Alan's poem started with all the same letters. That, I don't know if that was a coincidence. It makes me think that, nothing against Alan, just that it was rigged so that it could go back and be seen, just like Whitney is saying.
Well, if Madison Junction looks like a T on a map, just saying. Not that I want to support that solve, but like Madison Junction is a T on a solve or on a map.
I don't believe that it's the T's that matter. All that it matters is that you found this coincidence, this happening, this situation that you were looking for. You were looking for something in this. You don't know what you were looking for, but you finally found something, and now you realize that you found something. You discovered a method. At that point, you realized, oh, this method worked. Now let me take this method and go apply it somewhere else and see if it works there. And then you have so many ways of doing that. Is when you start connecting, 365 days a year, all the numbers between 1 and fucking 9 million, and every state and location, everything that starts and ends with a Y, everything that, whatever you can think of to narrow it down to one single place. But no, I think that the way that you have to get through all of those obstacles is pretty much how she is doing it, where she's just going back into time because she's looking at, the exterior stuff, the errors. Hey, why did that happen? Let me stop and take a look. Let's go back here and see why that happened.
Well, I think look at it as everything has been planned. Then obviously I feel like breadcrumbs would have been left. So just looking up where the breadcrumbs were left, I feel like.
Well, you're in front of so many things at this point, right? So we've been constantly looking at Stuef.com for a year now, and we've memorized pretty much this whole room because we've had an entire year of dialogue with it. We've had competitions. We've had so many live videos. Now, anything that we see that has anything to do with Jack Stuef, we are going to know everything about him in this room, no matter what. And then if someone in the future, 10 years down the road, this website's still going on and it's dormant, but they're like, they came across it somehow that we just missed. They're going to find one of us and we're going to be like, yeah, this, that, and they're going to be like, whoa, this is crazy. I had all this information. I've been looking for all this whole time. And then so maybe it was designed that way to where, like little Mikey and the Goonies had that key that he had to find in the attic that Chester Copperpot may had needed to get to One-Eyed Willie's goal, type of thing. But he just had it already.
Look what he's doing. He's rotated his picture. Why did he rotate this picture? Is he telling us something?
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out what Hammertime has on in the background.
Oh, can you guess the movie?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been trying to figure it out for like the last 5 minutes.
I figured you already would have by now. It's such a funny movie.
I can't tell either.
I can't figure it out. The other guys.
Yeah.
There you go.
Son of a bitch. It only took me 2 seconds. Fuck you, Stuef admin.
What's this Shiloh picture back here? That's the one you had on that last live that you got to use as your mask, Brian.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you
Hey,
got
why
Jack
doesn't my
Sparrow.
thing widescreen on YouTube? I'm looking at YouTube now. It just looks like I'm disjointed. That's not on purpose. I don't know why it's doing it like that. What if I do it like this?
You weren't a while ago until you moved your phone.
Well, I have it against a bag of frozen peas now, so that it won't overheat.
Is that supposed to be something?
Are they Jolly Green Giant?
Frozen peas. Google that real quick. Let's see.
So yeah, these movies, I'm not sure. I think that there's a way that we can get them the same way that we were before, which was basically using keywords and compound words of words that we see on the surface. So whatever the missing gray, right? That came out of the tribal tattoo, I think somehow to do with missing in gray or blotch or whatever has something to do with maybe that last movie scene with the weird eyeglasses, but there was clearly an emphasis on shades.
Why did they get rid of that? Why did they remove it?
Okay, someone said something, which it's another white name, so I don't know who this is now, but someone said something about it being orange. And so the orange is the biggest purpose, which it could just be someone random just saying that. But it did make me think. Last movie, really all we could see was his black shirt and his white glasses. And we get a lighthouse, it's white and black, and we have back and black. And I was like, okay, well, maybe this is a lot about color. Maybe it is about orange. I don't know. But then it did make me think, like, there are certain colors that do pop up per update, like the green update with CeeLo Green, and it had all those green helmets. And I was like, okay, well, maybe the biggest takeaway really is orange. And I don't know. Some of the updates, they do have like little motivational speaks, or like speeches and stuff. So, I mean, maybe it's something else, but it is in the back of my mind that maybe all we need is there's a back. He's on the ground and like it's orange. I don't have literally no idea. Like,
so here, I'll give you an idea of how one way you can interpret orange, which would be like, imagine, all right, so there's going to be a way that you're going to be able to think about orange in this, because you have to have so many ways to think about something. So what if orange was emphasis on like a town, right? So you have Orange, New Jersey, and that covers like a zip code. And that zip code turns into a day count, right? So let's say you have a 5-digit day count from a specific date in history that ended on another date in history. You take that number and you put it into Google, and all of a sudden you got Orange, New Jersey, or something like that. That's an aspect that I look at it, and how orange would be satisfactory to our numbering system, but also to what would emphasize orange. What could you get the most emphasis of orange with? And maybe in a location, and that it would be tied to a lot of data, but you had to have all of that data to get the point across that orange was what you were trying to stamp in the head. But what orange was purposeful for was that actual day count, which would put you into another dimension of coincidence. And you would be, as the person searching, just like you would be like, oh, that makes sense. Now, when you go try to explain it to everybody, they're like, you're fucking stupid. How could it be that? But you saw it yourself. You saw the light. You reverse engineered it to be like, oh, how is this possible? But the only way you could get there was through your own ideas. Everybody else may have, maybe one of them maybe like, oh, that's a great idea. But the rest, they're going to be, okay, whatever. There's no proof with that. But it's just simply a method, which is what we're all trying to figure out, the answers. No one really has the answers because they only may have what we're talking about, right? Stuef.com may have a little bit of this to be like, hey, look at this. And that's maybe correct. That's what I was told, something like that. And you just got to figure it out on your own. But to unravel it, how I did on just orange to find a way that an orange could be a blaze in a way. How could I get it to react with history in a way? And then how can I emerge it into the Fenn chase in a way? And then why would it be there in the first place? And so when I take all of those into consideration, I can create a whole dialogue of why orange is there. And it's not just because of the color orange. It's not just because I saw orange TV. It's because orange unraveled for me. It was like an onion. It spelt it out. And the reason why it would be there is so it could tell a story. So if I were to go ahead with my story and tell you the day count would be from November 24th, 1971 until June 5th, 2020. Something like that. That gives me all these, I can get a 5-digit count of days where I can believe that Forrest had planned something within his chase. He could plan it within day count because he knew what leap years were going to be which leap years. And if he wanted it to be 900 years into the future, he could continue to give out 900 years of hints because he knew what the calendar was going to look like in 900 years. And he could use real things in real life and in history to relate back to them with things he was able to manipulate online for us to see, like scrapbooks, treasure hunting books, old wood CNBC commercials, things like that he just had his way of doing, and people were like okay with it, or that's
we use orange here. I mean, the only thing that's orange in the room that I think that we have is the TV itself.
You know that my dad played in a college bowl game called the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
he also played for the New Jersey Generals.
I think Mama Q had the best one. Aren't you glad you grabbed every banana?
That's the right. Isn't that the joke every kid knows?
Aren't you glad I didn't say orange again?
Knock, knock, who's there? Banana. Knock, knock, who's there? Banana. Knock, knock, who's there? Banana. Knock, knock, who's there? Orange. Orange who? Aren't you glad I didn't say banana?
Yep.
I have a question. Well, I guess the only color that I can't think of right now, which may be a coincidence or is something, but have we gotten like a yellow update? Because I know that we've gotten green because of all the helmets, and we had CeeLo green. We had blue with the blueberries, and then we had the blue curtains and all that other stuff. We had orange, possibly this update. I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
purple.
it's a small sliver of orange that I'm like, to me, someone randomly could have said that to me, but all the white names I listen to anyways, because I'm like, this could be a random person, or it could be someone that is trying to hint at something.
You've got purple.
We got purple.
Yeah,
we got purple because the purple lady, and then the purple on Winston Hurley's not jacket. I think that's a shirt.
Purple is always Forrest in my book.
Yeah.
And honestly, that picture right there, it means a lot too, because one, it's his back, and so you can't really tell from that little sliver of it. But I mean, with all of the backs that we've got in the first few updates, we get the Gaspard memories in the top right corner, and then we have bottom left corner, we have another back, and those were all again in the very first updates. So
and a zillion of your scenes that you pointed out, Whitney, of moments where someone's back is shown to us.
Yes. So I don't know if it's hinting at one of these two things, or if that's in general, like you're supposed to look back, like
look back like the rearview mirror.
We do have mirrors too, like look back, like reflect kind of thing. So I don't know how to look at that, I guess, but
that goes back to Act 2.
Right.
You got Act 1.
But,
Act
there's
2?
there's a company called Take Two Productions.
They did my Little League YouTube, or not YouTube, my Little League football videos.
Well, of course they did. Hammertime.
No, that's what they did. When I played I played for the Indians too, by the way. They'd have this film crew come out. We were pretty good in Pee Wee, they'd have this film crew come out, and at the end of the game, all of us, after we shook hands, we'd get in front of the camera. The cameraman would have us say like a little 5-second clip or something, and it was all, you know, it was a bunch of 10-year-olds, but just saying like, yeah, next time we're gonna kick their ass really good, you know. And they would put it onto a video cassette, and we'd get it at the banquet at the end of the year every year, and we'd watch it on the big, you know, screen at whatever pizza party we had. And they'd have our little homecoming on Take Two Productions. Sorry, that was a way side quest I did there.
And I saw your ears perk up when I mentioned that earlier, and I was like, he's not
That's where
saying everything he knows. He's got some kind of code or something, I bet.
Who, Hammertime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Whitney does too.
I'm debating if Hammertime is deeply involved, or if he just knows what's going on because he's figured it out and he's playing almost not a true solver in a derogatory way, but a true solver in an interesting way.
That's it right there.
Everything that Hammer tells me, I side-eye him. So yeah, I believe that. I have no, I can't read him at all.
You know, Whitney, you're the Nashville.
Yeah.
There's
you're the
people in Nashville. So you
can't
take that one aspect. There's not one other thing that someone could say that I was sus about, but there's like Nashville's a very popular city.
Whitney, do you want to know what's sus about it? I'll tell you what's sus about it. You happen to be from Nashville, but there are not many people on this planet who would endure what X Marks the Spot did to them and still be here to help us solve puzzles. That's what's sus about you, Miss Nashville.
You know, speaking of X Marks the Spot, you know, I did listen to another episode of Devils Within because I was like, okay, wait. I had no idea there was new episodes. So apparently there's, I don't know, probably close to 100 now. I have no idea. Thankfully, they're not very long, but I'm like, okay, am I supposed to have listened to this whole time? Because I had no clue about it. But yeah, X Marks the Spot. That's it's obviously where my puzzle goes every single time. I think everything that the fact that we're on 33 and we're stuck, and then we end up, our puzzle ends on March 3rd. There's no coincidence to me. There's no coincidence.
You think someone picked the March 3rd date?
100%. 100%. So yes,
33.
And I think 33 are E's. I think I have so many like little thoughts that go along with it. But yeah, there's all those little things like I was talking about last time, how I've been able to like line up all these with episodes that after 9, I think that they tell off to, like you said, from clues to hints. And so with the last couple matching up not only with episodes, but I think it was like 29 or 30 or whatever it was on 5 and 6. So that means that this would be number 9. Hypothetically, this would be number 9. So I don't know. I do think that they're related, but it's hard for me to convince anybody. So
you know, so you hear all this talk about Nashville.
Right.
So
and I only think the Nashville thing is only there because of the 5 and 6. That's the only reason.
Are you sure about that?
And I think that he literally flew in, Jack, quote unquote, flew into Nashville just to do a certain thing in time, just to say he was here. Didn't he sign it in the airport and leave, right? Isn't that how the story goes?
I think so, but you'd have to double check with Fenn.
Stay the night. He had to say that he was in Nashville just so he could use those numbers, in my opinion.
So who told you that? Where did you get that info from?
I don't know. I may have this wrong. I may be completely wrong. I feel like I've read this or heard the story, right?
Yeah, that info was pretty much the consensus story of what we came up with the day before the auctions had started, or the day the auctions had started or something, because the affidavit was signed like the day before, or it just showed up on the auction website real soon. And so it was a quick ordeal. And all that time we were distracted with the LLC and how many people or who was within that at the same time, to where very minimal people were talking about what the deal was with this. It wasn't even Nashville. They had to figure it out was what the county was. And then they're like, oh, so why would Jack be in Nashville when he lives in Detroit? So he just assumed that he had stopped through an airport and had somebody sign it. Well, then one of the other chasers at the time, I think, lives in Nashville. What's his face? The stick guy. And
Rudy Green.
Yeah, Rudy. They were saying that he met up with Stuef because he lived out there, and then he was part of the LLC, and that's how all of it ended up getting into the distracted worm rabbit hole from there. But yes, so it is plausible, I would assume. There's not like an actual, unless we can go find the notary themselves and find where they did that. I don't know if they could or legally, but I also, it looked pretty easy to become a notary in that state.
I think someone looked into that, Hammer. I think someone looked in, and the notary is now retired.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny because there's a lot of people in the chase that have retired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Jack's lawyer is retired. Sarah Davis is retired. Yeah.
The notary retired.
Would it be any different if there was a different notary involved? Was it needed to be in Nashville because of they knew that notary that would be a good witness, right? Type thing, you know, being in the go ahead.
I just want to emphasize the point of there's a lot of notaries in a lot of cities in this country. He could have gone, if you're connecting to Puerto Rico, you do a notary in Miami. Right. If you're going to Hawaii, you do the notary in Los Angeles. There is no reason to hub in Nashville. This is ridiculous. It's stupid to think that it doesn't have something to do with something. I agree.
Okay, here it is. Retired, retarded. We're not too far from that. That goes back to Jack, you know, the whole retarded comment that he made.
I just think retired is what you need. If you're going to have people involved in this on a periphery, then you want people that don't need to be put in the line of sight. And if you were going to retire anyway, perfect. And would you take the extra hour to find a notary? You're going to do this in Nashville. Are you going to take the extra hour to find a notary who's about to retire? Yeah, actually, I probably would. I would spend an hour on the phone and I'd call up a bunch of notaries and I'd get to know them in the course of 3.5 minutes. And I'd find out which one is about to retire because that's the one I want to use.
There you go.
By the way, Mama Q, will you please ask Ben what he thinks of Stuef.com going down on 10/1/23?
Thanks, Whitney. I just saw that and I was getting ready to ask.
Saw it too.
Are we talking about when they did the Forrest through the trees image was in the summer? When did it go down? I don't even remember.
I didn't know that either.
For first.
Sorry, stupid question. She already said it in the question. I don't remember it going down, so I don't know how to speak on it. Are there more details? Maybe Mama Q knows that I'm sure I was in Discord that day, so I'm sure I said something on that day, and it might have been about the site going down. If she can remind me maybe what I said, I don't know.
The site, I remember it went down for like, I don't even know if it was a full 24 hours, but it was not there. Now I have I don't know, my best guess, which it means nothing, but I come up with scenarios and I only have one. But you know, the Back to the Future solve that I was trying to make happen. And on update 8, it was 88. So there was a lot of 88 in Back to the Future, 88 miles per hour, right? Well, then they had, that was that wasn't the one with the horse, like with Lightning the horse. So it had already happened. So 8-8. So then the next time you see a lightning bolt is update 16. And so if you think of it, it goes from 8 to 16. Like if it were to jump that much, then if it went down in time or something like that, there was like a jump of some sort, which that's just me making up something just because
so the update, so update 16 is what gives us the lightning bolt.
Yes. Well,
okay. So I would ask every single person with the thrill of the chase in front of them, just do me a favor and go to page 16.
Okay, I have it right in front of me actually.
Do it, because I'm curious.
It's in literature, okay. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. And that is first grade.
Well, okay, wait. So, jump starting the learning curve.
What does he say?
Is that the name? Is that the name of the section? If you flip back a page, maybe, or is it just okay? What I'm trying. Well, that's interesting. That's getting into poem solve stuff. But I was gonna go. When my awareness took its first steps, I assumed that was first grade. Oh, just first grade. Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. That's interesting. I don't know. I would read that again. I don't know what they're trying to do with it. They're giving us numbers all over the place. These numbers mean something. And I would assume we have books in the image right in the middle. We got to use those books.
That's why I brought up the timestamp matching the one with Peggy and his girls on update 9. It was on update 9 was 8:15. This says 8:15 and it ends with Peggy and his girls, essentially, in my opinion. So,
I always did when I read the books. Well, just read the first book. The lost numbers, I thought were in the book, except for one, which I had a harder time finding, which was 16. You have 4, 8, 15, 23, 42 all over the place in this book. Well, you don't have a 16. And so I've always tried to look for things that were the number 16 somewhere else from him if he left out one of the lost numbers on a little side theory. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't lead me anywhere. I'm just saying, like, I've always been looking for the number 16. So to hear you bring up 16 to me feels like that's the missing lost number. That's the X. Anyway.
Well, it is Rainbow.
Back to Lost.
And it is, I will say, the Paris Spurs. So, and I remember you brought up what if they were the asterisks, and I love that. I was like, okay, well, that's got to be it. And I will say on page 15, the page right before it is when we get the big N or whatever with the asterisk at the bottom. So, I mean, it's just like the page before.
Which has to do with time.
I mean, no one has answered the asterisks, and even Jack didn't mention the asterisk until the end of the Medium article, in which he says, the secret of the double omegas will go to the grave with the man who created them, or however he said it. And then he ends the article with 2 omegas and an asterisk. And even in his rendition of things, we never get an explanation for that asterisk. And I think all of us are still sitting here wondering what the hell about that asterisk.
Yeah.
I mean, Whitney, you're new to the chase, but I assume that feels like a giant Easter egg you want an answer to. If this were a TV show and you had to list, okay, here's what I want answers for, one of the things I think would be the asterisks.
I mean, absolutely. And I mean, I think that those are obviously like the most important things. Like he's telling, like it's kind of in your face. And I feel like that's probably the Dancing with the Stars kind of, comments that he makes is referencing those. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a question I would have for sure.
But let me ask you about a possible answer. Sorry, Brian. Sorry.
Oh, it's Chris.
Oh, Chris. Sorry, Chris.
We're talking about page 15 right now, right?
15 and 16.
15, 16.
Okay. I was just making sure.
I just wonder about he knows the asterisk is going, I can't say that word right. He knows the asterisk is going to be talked about. He makes it full page color almost by making the letters so dang big. and the font so dang big. So he knows it's going to be a mystery. Immediately in chat, I finally got it open here. You get, oh, those are stars. Oh, well, dude, look at a phone. It's 8. Everybody has an answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we think Forrest would know if he's going to use something like an asterisk, if it was 8, if it was anything else that you could jump to within 5 minutes, he would have already thought of that first. Would he say to himself, gosh, they'll be able to figure it out so fast? Or would he do this because he came up with some kind of meaning where, no, we won't come up with it so fast? That's where I lean.
I think it's just a blaze in the book, right? You know, it's something that is going to sit there forever for you to be able to stare at what it means, because it's something that you were never able to answer on your own. So it's a part of like maybe the last clue in a way for your own soul to sit there and basically figure out, because that's all you need to figure out at this point is the 15th page on the asterisks. And a blaze,
how many points are in the asterisks on the page, out of curiosity?
There's 6 naturally.
6. Well, on the page though, like the one he uses, he doesn't use it.
I don't know. I have no idea. It could be 8.
I
Whitney?
Okay. I will say on, what did I say? Update 8, which I only try to make it work just because of X marks the spot, but Ben, you're solved with Back to the Future. Okay, well, if it is 88 and then we jump to 16 and it is 8 on a keypad, what are you doing? You're adding them. And I always think about admin, and then he says tallying up the time. There's adding somewhere in there. And then if you look at the movie that we got on update 16, it was The Count of Monte Cristo. So you have count. So it's just, there's addition somewhere. And so, I mean, I can connect all the freaking dots, but I don't there's.
But that's the solve Brandon made fun of me for. He said, oh, no, not you too, Ben. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So why on earth would they even involve that? I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I don't want you to be right.
The thing is, the fact that those matched up perfectly, at least 2 to 3 of them matched up, it feels like it was on purpose, in my opinion. So I can't ignore it at this point.
I mean, then the bolt of lightning has the meaning.
But we do also have a horse named Lightning, and he comes.
We do.
Bingo.
Yes. So we have him come. When does he come in? I don't remember.
And lightning has a blaze on it with an arrow pointing down.
And Doc describes his epiphany as a bolt of lightning.
Right.
For all we know, it's not even like it's a Back to the Future solve, but like maybe Forrest, when he interacted with Steven Spielberg a few times, decided to put on Back to the Future, in his free time one evening, and was like, yeah, it's a great metaphor. A great idea is like a bolt of lightning. And that's it. That'd be cool. I'll take that.
You know that I bought that interview with Forrest. And
yeah.
I bought that stupid disc, and I watched that entire thing because I was like, okay, well, it brought me to that one scrapbook. And
yeah, so what? I know where you're going with this. So what? What did you really learn?
Well, I went to that one spot where I was like, okay, well, I think that, okay, maybe it's leading us back to this one interview that you can't really get your hands on. And I get to this one spot in the thing, and he talks about Charlie Russell. And Forrest sold Steven Spielberg of Charlie Russell. And to me, I'm like, okay, well, is that the most important purchase here? That there is a movie that I have no idea. No idea.
Exactly. Why even bring it? Because he brings it up because he's proud of it.
Yeah.
He's a salesman, so he's selling the person actually who's trying to sell him. And what you see is actual genuine enthusiasm. He is not, he's not God. He is not thinking, oh dear, what happens if a treasure hunter sees this later on? Because it was before, even if he was thinking about the treasure hunt, and maybe he was a little on guard at first, But after an hour or so, you get to see Forrest in action, how he conducted his business, how he would interview other people and learn about other people, and what he would do to get other people to pull their walls down. And then you start to learn a little bit more about Forrest. And when he goes back to a story about Charlie Russell and he goes back to Steven Spielberg, this is a man who's proud of his interaction with Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And if he's proud of his interaction with Steven Spielberg, good God Almighty, what else did they talk about when they had a whiskey one night?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That seems like a very important purchase to me.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to back up here a minute. So you were talking,
sorry.
You were talking about the page with the asterisk and the N.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the N is important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what letter is N in the alphabet? Number 14.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
to me.
Huh? What?
It's what's important to me. It's the key that I think I talked about last time, but I think it's very important.
Yeah. So, but 1 and 5 is also a 5.
Right.
Is 5 not important? We've got the 55-5 thing.
Our first song was cut to 51 seconds.
Do you know what the 5th letter in the alphabet is? It's an E. You mentioned it earlier.
Right.
You rotate it to 33.
Mm-hmm.
3. So I don't know what to do with all this stuff, people.
Oh, I know.
I listen to you wise people all the time, and I'm amazed at what the crap you all come up with, but we don't know what to do with it.
I know.
That's where I'm lost. That's where I'm so lost. Y'all have some great ideas. Trying to figure it all out, I just don't know. We have no confirmation of anything except for, we get the song right. Yeah, we get right.
You didn't have a confirmation of anything with the poem either.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Wait a minute, did I?
No, you didn't. Forrest is on record, and we debated this in Discord. You cannot know that you have solved that first clue, and there's 2 quotes. You cannot know that you have solved the first clue without the treasure chest in your hands or without finding the treasure chest.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it.
I agree.
Even if he says you got to go with confidence, fine. Then he's talking about 99% confidence. He's not 100 does not happen until you have that treasure chest. End of story, according to that quote, unless you want to wordsmith it. And I've heard some good counter arguments to it. And frankly, they might be right. I don't know. This is where I'm at.
I remember the first time I went boots on the ground. My kids took me on Father's Day, June of 2019. And it was our very first time. And I was like, when we got there, we were having this conversation. I'm like, wait a minute, we're not going to find it today. And they're like, what do you mean we're not going to find it? I said, because we didn't bring a flashlight and a 6-pack.
That moment is a very humbling moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait a second. This ain't happening, is it? Oh, shit. Well, this looks a little different than I thought it would.
But yeah, I just don't.
But that was part of the fun too, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you that the poem could lead all of us to 1,000 different places. But the only confirmation you're going to have is to see that chest sitting there.
Right.
Yeah.
And there could, okay, so also though, what I'm open to is a second game, and this gets us to maybe a second take. And that is, okay, maybe there was a game for a chest, and then maybe there was a game for something else. And it doesn't have to be bigger or lesser than or equal to. You fill in those gaps. But maybe there was a second game the whole time. And here's why I even bring up the idea of one. It's not wishful thinking from my point of view. From the get-go, I asked myself, how can this man answer so many questions, do so many interviews as I enter here in 2015-ish? How can he talk this much without giving things away and still keep that confidence? And I said to myself, there's a few options. And the one I honed in on was, there's 2 things happening at once. And when you ask him a question and you don't know that there's 2 things happening at once, because it's his game, he has to give you an honest answer. That's part of the game. So he'll give you an honest answer, but he's going to talk about the second thing if you ask him a question that's too good about the first thing. If you happen to hone in on a question that involves the second game, he won't answer that. He'll talk about the first game. That's how I think Forrest conducted his interviews, and that's why I truly believe there was a second game in the chase, and maybe it's still going on.
That, I mean, that just reminds me of like, okay, well, put that in present time, you know, like I was talking about, okay, with admin and like tallying of the time or whatever, and if we went from 8 to 16, the Count of Monte Cristo, count the MCs, we have all these MCs, and if I were to think about X marks the spot in that scenario, we had Michael O'Connell, or it was Michael O'Connell, that he added up the words in Forrest's poem. He used addition to use that, and use that as coordinates. And not saying it's right, it was amazing, and I feel like there is something there, but it's just like a reference. And so I feel like there's always a second game. There's always like you have to be able to toggle back and forth.
The one thing X marks the spot didn't cover was GPS. I find it interesting that you bring up Michael McConnell's coordinates.
Oh yeah, because he makes Brandon Morgan makes a mistake and says McConnell. Obviously, all the mistakes in there were like they're mini level asterisks. Okay, like they were meant to be blazes throughout the entire thing, in my opinion. And he mispronounces his name, and he says Mick there. So to me, I'm like, okay, count the Monte Cristo. Okay, well that's a trigger for me. So like you said, there's always a second game. There's always like two things happening at once. So I don't know. You have to be able to pay attention to both, I guess.
So you said McConnell, right? He says McConnell.
He says McConnell, and then at the very end, like on the last, so he says something about drop the mic, and so I took that as drop the MC. It's O'Connell or whatever, but that's when I get back into the X marks the spot solve, and I'm sorry. It's the only way I know how to play, because I don't have like the boots on the ground references or like stories or anything like that. So
I'm using Dan Barbarise's book as a prop to hold my phone.
So
I like that. Drop the
Dan
mic.
Barbarese, DB, another DB.
So Whitney, I like the fact that you're bringing up the whole X marks the spot, because I didn't really follow it, honestly. I'll be honest with you. I listened to it as a podcast, but not as a treasure hunt thing. I did not do anything, and my God, I'm glad I didn't.
That's all about the chase, though, so I get it.
But you just brought up McConnell Air Force Base. You know, there's a McConnell Air Force Base. You brought up the name McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that triggers anything for anybody, but that's in Wichita, Kansas. I don't know if that triggers anything.
I don't know.
Just throwing it out there. I don't know. You mentioned it, so that's the first thing I went to was McConnell Air Force Base.
Okay, I'll remember that. I'll take note of it.
Because, Forrest was in the service, so Air Force.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
So I thought that was interesting when you mentioned that triggered, wait a minute, there's an Air Force base in Wichita, Kansas.
Speaking of planes.
Yes. What do you got there? Show us that. I saw that earlier.
No, this is the room. I folded the room into a paper airplane.
Yeah.
So I basically folded it where there was the side mirror, and then there was like the 17 square inch. So I folded that in half. I basically made an airplane, right? So we have the two wings, because I just thought it was pretty cute that this is not an updated version, but there was a butterfly wing right here. And then we talked about Winston Hurley, his wing, like it looked like a butterfly wing. So I'm like, okay, it ended up being two wings. But I did think it was pretty cute that when you fold it, the picture with Peggy does land on the bumblebee. So I don't know if that means anything to anybody, but that was I mean, Ben seems to think that was a blaze with the chase. So if it is, and if it matches up, I thought that was really interesting that
Yeah.
match up. But I don't know. I don't know if the planes in the room were supposed to, I don't know, get any plane, like his history with the Air Force or anything like that, or with his that timeline, or if it's literally to fold it into an airplane. I have no idea.
Yeah, I haven't figured out the whole airplane thing either. I thought maybe it was just like airmail.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of words played off of air, a paper airplane.
Yeah.
Airmail.
I mean, there's literally a paper airplane in a room.
Yeah, yeah.
I found out one time, okay, I'm sorry, I'm bringing up X Marks spot again, but one of the clues was the dying gas of Venus or whatever, and then there was instruction and stuff like that, and that instruction ended up being in Discord on Peggy's death date. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if that was a coincidence or not, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We were talking about, I'm sorry, I've had a lot of thoughts in there. I'm just trying to let everybody talk and get things out. I'm trying to remember, go back to things that I can think of. So something was mentioned about, we talked about earlier about Nashville.
Right.
All roads lead to Nashville. I've heard that 100 times.
Yeah.
There is an actual song from somebody called All Roads Lead Back to Nashville. I don't know what the lyrics are. It's by somebody named Linda Woodson. I don't know if it means anything. I'm curious what the lyrics say. I have not looked them up yet, but
Why has no one just asked Rudy Green? He's from Nashville. He bought a Vanetti's chest. There's more than one person that thinks this is Chris Jones. Why are people coming to me? Go fucking ask Rudy. He's the one who bought the first, not just any chest. Rudy bought the first chest from Vanetti's. We don't find that odd?
well, we still don't know who was behind asking Chris Jones to do the replica chest, do we? Has it been confirmed that it was Forrest?
I can deduce it.
Yeah. Okay.
He absolutely states that he thanks someone for being entrusted with this project. And the entrustment of this project was to be able to do a copy of the chest, and he owns not a replica. And then also states the poem is engraved on the underside of the chest. And that you could really only get the rights from Forrest to do that, especially if you're going to sell. Now, it's one thing to sell searcher coins at $3.50 a pop. It's another thing to sell a replica of the chest and then also engrave the copywritten poem onto that chest. And he states he has full trust. As far as I'm concerned, because we have sleuths who look into this kind of stuff, I don't think Chris Jones has ever been sued by the Fenn estate or Forrest Fenn. So that tells me he absolutely had permission. Now, Dale was entrusted with this binder and then released said binder in January of 23, I believe, or was it 24? God, the things are mushing together. It doesn't matter. He releases the binder years later and then immediately gets a cease and desist letter, right? We all wondered, is it a cease and desist? Or I wondered, cease and desist, strongly worded letter. I still argue that's just a very strongly worded letter. It's actually not a real cease and desist. They can be a lot scarier. But it doesn't matter. Dale got that. This Chris Jones character uses the poem, engraves it into a copy chest, and sells them for 5 figures. Not a fucking peep from Forrest Fenn to the estate.
Has anybody actually seen the poem on the bottom side of the treasure chest? Because I don't think
Rudy showed it. Rudy showed it when he did a video. Yeah, he has a video. I still think it's up. The last time I checked, it was about 6 months ago. But here's what's funny, and I don't remember which order it comes in, but he lifts up the chest and he goes, and I bought number 72, and the chest says 74. Or he says, I bought number 74, and the chest says 72. But one of those two things happens, and you can also see the engraved poem underneath. Not underneath, on the underneath side. The whole entire underneath side is filled up.
God, that seems crazy to engrave that whole entire poem on that chest. That would be
Right?
super small letters.
And then lo and behold, the one giant piece of evidence that goes against a major claim in the book, 12th century Flemish chest, Romanesque lockbox, the underside of the chest allegedly found, allegedly sold to Tesoro Sagrado, says made in France, with a maker's mark that allows you to date it right around the turn of the century. And I mean, I don't mean the 21st century, I mean the turn of the 20th century. So what we're supposed to be led to believe is, and some people will say, well, Ben, just 1150 is the hint. Okay, fine. That happens to work out with your solve. Congratulations. For the rest of us, he said 1150 Flemish Roman lockbox, and this chest said made in France with a maker's mark that we all fucking found in 2 seconds. You're telling me Forrest, the antiquities dealer, didn't look under the chest to see made in France? Are we all smoking the same weed I'm smoking? Because that's your only excuse at this point.
I hear you. So here's the other thing. I'm going to stop for a second. So I went to the Venetti site, and the only picture that's missing that they do not show is the poem on the bottom of the chest. Don't you think you would show that? Why is that a secret on Venetti's to not show the poem on the bottom of the treasure chest?
I thought I saw it. I thought at the very least, I saw a photo very easily of that engraving on the bottom of the chest. Maybe it came from only Rudy and not the Venetti's website, which I would agree with you. Why not show that? But at the same time, maybe that's part of they're doing something weird with this. I don't believe the whole point was to sell chests for 10 grand. I don't actually believe that. That doesn't mean Chris Jones is behind Stuef.com either. I'm willing to go down this Chris Jones route because I've done my own I've done my own research and gathered information about Chris Jones far before Stuef.com ever existed. So it's I find it very fucking interesting when people bring up Chris Jones because I don't know about you guys, but I put in a lot of super chat money into a certain YouTube show because I was buying into the don't pay any bets idea. I found it fascinating that we're being told that someone has direct emails from Forrest Fenn and he has shown them to the co-host of the show. And that co-host is saying, yeah, guys, don't pay any bets. And then I find it double interesting that those same people then ostracize that person and say, oh, don't listen to that guy. He's a nobody. Which is it?
Yeah. So there's not a picture of the poem on the bottom of that treasure chest that I'm seeing anywhere.
So go to Rudy's page. He's got the dragonflies. That's the big difference. These dragonflies. That at least I'm sure there's other differences, but like the main ones for me are the dragonflies, and I don't get why.
What was on your chest that you hid?
Oh, a giant dragonfly.
What was that movie? What was the movie called with Kevin Costner in it? Where they're
called Dragonfly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the dragonfly symbol was actually a waterfall. No spoilers.
See, that's what I think is in the thrill of the chase on page 99. That's a waterfall. That's a waterfall that's pointing down into the Blind Canyon. That's
the best movie.
That's my take on that.
The best movie on the planet that could ever tell you what a waterfall is on a map is the movie Dragonfly. I suggest everyone watch it. Here's the problem. Yeah. I don't think it's available anywhere. Like Amazon,
and I couldn't find it.
I can't find it either, and it pisses me the fuck off. I had it on DVD, but I've moved so many times I eventually lost it. It's nowhere to be found now, and it pisses me off. Kevin Costner, listen, we're all in on this Western shit. We're gonna go see it in the theaters every single time. But if you could just throw in like $50K to one of these streaming companies just to fucking put the movie on, we'll pay for it. Just put it on, available to buy. Christ.
Just go to your local antique mall where they're selling all the DVDs. You'll find it in there. Guaranteed.
Honestly, that's what some people, my mom used to antique. I go through DVD bins and I look for movies like Dragonfly.
Yeah. Yep. Man, there was something I was going to say, and I just lost it. Trying to remember what's.
Sorry, y'all got me excited on dragonflies.
No, you're good. Hammer, Alan asked a long time ago, how did you explain how and why you found ha ha ha?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
right. Thanks, Whitney. You're on it.
I mean, it came simply from reading The Thrill of the Chase and just going off into the DB Cooper tangent from Forrest, and then searching DB Cooper, realizing that ha 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 was odd out there in the internet, and so I found a copy and ordered it. I don't think that there was many at that point. It's odd for me because I didn't really document a lot that happened in the beginning of ha ha ha. And then when it started becoming more popular is when I maybe started paying attention because no one listened to me. They just
Chris,
thought it
did
was
you make a solve out of it? Did you make a solve out of it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Everything
Where
that I have.
can I ask
revolves
where
around
your solve? I'm only asking questions I think Alan would want me to follow up on.
that.
Did your solve take you anywhere near our solve, for instance?
No,
Okay.
it took me to coordinates. That so you use the PO box 687. I use the zip code, and the zip code are a brief basic set of coordinates. They're a 5-set digit number that you can use 3 digits for one side of the coordinate and then 2 digits for the other side of the coordinate just to get a generalized area.
Okay, fair enough. I was just curious though. When did you become curious? When did you become? Because it wasn't right away. I can't imagine. But when did you become convinced?
It was pretty quick. I would say within a year for sure. Within
Yeah.
6 months to a year. For
Okay.
sure.
All right. Fair
You know
enough.
what?
Right.
I'm really curious just listening to y'all talk. So, Hammer, when did you start the chase?
I think I looked on Amazon and I bought my Thrill of the Chase book at like December 12th or something like that, 2014.
And
Or
I feel like you said that you were like started getting more active like 2014, 15, right?
Yeah, so in 14, you probably won't find any activity of me because I got in at the end of 14. And then in 15, I went back on Chase Chat yesterday and looked, and I think I enrolled in February of 2015 in Chase Chat. And
And
that's
then
where I
Ben,
spent most of my
when
time.
did you start?
Huh?
And I said, and Ben, when did you start?
Um,
About 2015.
I bought the book October of 2015.
So you bought the book when I was searching for DB Cooper.
Yeah.
So you may have heard about DB Cooper and then went and bought the book.
I heard. Okay, so I first heard about DB Cooper watching Unsolved Mysteries rerun in like 1991. So DB Cooper was in my mind first. But Forrest told me about Hiding the Treasure in 2009, and I look. The last thing I want to do is sound more cagey, but there's a gray there's a gray zone between 2009 and when I say I bought the book, which is October of 2015. That's
I like.
Whitney's
I've gone back.
I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out. It bugs me. Y'all are like the same age. Y'all like come into the chase around the same time. I don't know. I just feel like there is something I cannot connect here. So it may be coincidence. It may be complete coincidence, but it's weird because y'all both go back to DB Cooper. I don't know. There's a lot of similarities. Y'all are both sus.
I might have to jump in the pool real quick and then get right back to you because it's getting very fucking hot.
Okay.
Are we going for a little while? This is fun, so I want to keep going. But
yeah,
okay,
we'll go for a little bit longer.
Okay, so I'm gonna enough for me to get in the pool. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So the question I was so we brought up some movies. So Stuef admin, when they give us a movie clip, don't you think it's probably a movie that's probably free to us all to find, so in some way? Because with everything streaming now, I mean, if you're not a streamer, then you're probably not going to have access to a lot of these movie clips.
Yeah.
So,
There- I
and a
feel
lot
like
of them have been on Netflix, right? Have all of them been on Netflix, or just some of them?
some of them.
So,
There's been a couple that I haven't been able to get my hands on.
Okay.
I don't know. Most of them have been on Netflix.
I think the most of them we've been able to find on YouTube clips.
YouTube,
Um,
okay.
Yeah.
Or Netflix, one of the two, yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what I was curious about.
You know what I just thought of? We still have those numbers we never did figure out, and it's possible that we could use those numbers. I know, like we did the 404 thing, but if it is possible that they are like numbers or like numbers translated to like letters, that they could be like the first letter of the movie. I don't know. It's just I'm thinking about all this stuff we haven't figured out, which that wasn't that long ago. That was only a few episodes updates ago. But it is kind of weird that I think I brought it up to you yesterday, Hammer, but we have essentially possibly our last update, and then Chester's gone. It's been a hot topic in family.
yeah,
And
it's interesting for
up
sure.
to you, but his or her join date was 1/4, so 14.
Of course.
Of course, I'm telling you, 14, everything.
So Galaxy pointed out something interesting about old Ben. It says Fenn tells you about it before anyone in 2009 in a bar of all places. And then here you are up to your neck in it, and only after it was found. Coincidence? LOL. That came from my buddy Galaxy. It was kind of funny.
I wanted Galaxy to join us, man. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Um,
He's in chat right now.
what was the comment? I heard him say my name, so I walked over quicker.
Oh, he says Fenn tells you about it before anyone in 2009 in a bar of all places.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are, neck deep in it.
He wasn't drinking, mind you.
He has he's having a little fun with you, Ben. Don't worry.
No, I'm just saying Forrest wasn't drinking. So it is interesting that it was in the bar, I must say.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not discounting your story at all. It's kind of like me with me getting the pictures from the vault on my
I think
phone.
a lot of people do discount the story, and that's okay. I'm not here to prove them right or wrong. It doesn't matter to me. But I do find it an interesting addition to the overall story, if you believe it. And of course, I do.
Believe it or not, I feel like it's been told so many times that it's become important.
Well, people have asked me so many times, Whitney, because
No, I didn't mean it like in a negative way.
no.
I just mean like it's your timeline is always brought up because it's always suspicious, but that story is always brought up, and it being before the book comes out or like at the treasure's announced, I think that story is important. Now, how do you? I don't know, and especially if this entire time, 10 or I guess 14, 15 years or whatever, however long it's been, obviously anything significant like that needs to be remembered. So
it felt important, and I had no interest in getting onto YouTube. I actually posted the story for the first time in I think late 2020 on Thor. And I was like, look, I know no one's going to believe me, but here's what happened. I think
okay, you have to look at it from someone like me. Okay, I just came into this 2 years ago, and I know you from the podcast, but then I hear about this Mr. Robot situation, and then I found out that you talked to Forrest about this beforehand. I mean, it's weird. Okay, it's supposed to be brought up, and I think that, again, believe it or not, it's supposed to be told that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. I do have my guesses, and that, aligns with my guesses, but I don't know. I fucking don't know. That's people either think I know because I'm some paid actor and this is all a show, or I'm all full of shit and I'm lying my ass off and I know nothing. I would agree with the I know nothing part, but I'm not lying my ass off about any of these circumstances. I'm just not. And it's a little fucking weird at this point, I gotta say.
So, Chris, a question for you from Alan says thanks for it, but you didn't answer. How or why did you tie FF to DB Cooper, and why did you contact Stephanie on it? Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
No, it's probably the same way anybody else would. After reading The Thrill of the Chase, I may have looked at it a little bit different. The numbers stood out more to me. DB Cooper is also something that's always been on my mind. In a lot of ways, I've learned about it when I was young, and I'm just infatuated with unsolved mysteries like that. But I found The Thrill of the Chase because it was also an unsolved mystery at that time. And so those were already parallel in my head. But when I started doing the number translation to letters like 423 being in Hillcrest, and then the badges on the you could tell that the pictures were sort of photoshopped. And I went into it with a very, very open mind. It wasn't immediately straight to, Lake McDonald and the Glacier National Park. It was, what the hell is going on here? And why do I have this sense of that something else is going on? So naturally, me knowing about DB Cooper pretty much helped me on that, because I was able to just sort of see DB in a way, and then having like him being a pilot and jumping out and escaping, like he like built the back end of this story in my head in a way, just the way that if you look at it. And when I found Ha 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 is when it made more sense, because when I started reading Ha 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 was like, is this connected to these other stories that I was reading? And then after I read the whole book, my mom had read it and she was feeling it too. And then that's when I brought it to Steph. I was like, hey, maybe this book maybe it was written by Forrest and it was just claiming to be DB Cooper. And that's when I like brought it all out. But finding Ha 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 was part of it too. It's because I was researching DB Cooper and there was all these books. What can I learn about him? And then seeing the book out there and then it being a mystery already really connected me to Forrest, him as an author, and then Ha Ha Ha, not knowing who the author is, and then not knowing about Forrest altogether, but he was this kind of like folklore hero and art dealer. Just, he had just a man of many hats. So that's about as good as I can get to answering how I connected it, just by seeing little things like 423 and then the overall of how DB Cooper is unsolved, and the timeline, of course, right? You look into his Santa Fe days, what he was doing before. You can get all this from the book. And
So
it wouldn't like it happened.
did you use Ha 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 and the DB Cooper thing along with Thrill of the Chase and include that in your solve? Was that all linked together, or was it separate?
Yeah, in a way. So the way that Ha 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 is designed is just for a topic, right? It's a whole good story that was written out, and then the book is written in a context to where, hey, if you go back and read this book again, you might find 7 clues that lead you to this big score, which is the money that I stole pretty much, but I invested it, and I'm gonna just give it back to you at the 200,000 sum, right? He made millions and millions of dollars off of this shit, but he was gonna give it back to you in the cash. That just didn't really align, but I had 9 clues already in my head from another book. So I'm like, how could this possibly connect 7 and then 9? And then, so I've always had 79 in my head because it's on the periodic table as gold already and an AU. And then now 97 is in your head because he had to fucking die on 97 as well. And so you have a reverse number of 79 and 97 that equals Forrest and him as a whole. It's the end, which is gold, and then the end of him, which is, and they're both in like a mirror image. So I didn't know about 97 at the time, other than the fact that it existed
but
in the
then
book already.
doesn't
The
that
90
imply that there's more to his death than there probably
Absolutely. I can't talk about that because then it just becomes really taboo and way out of cycle. But yes, 100%. Like the 97 was already embedded because you got to think 97 is in the zip code in Ha Ha Ha. I had already had a spot picked out with these coordinates into my DB Cooper life. And the more I got into DB Cooper, the more I realized I'm not ever turning back from this. Like, how could I ever? I'm so fucking far deep into this right now where I can see, but I can't go. I'm not, I don't go out here and say what I think happened because everybody has their own story. It doesn't matter. The point is to kind of just prove it. And my mission is to get everybody together to help prove it because it's not a one man job thing. It's someone else's story, but everybody's got to tell it type of thing. So the DB Cooper thing's weird. I can go into a lot of detail of what I think it would be, but it's not just that, and it's not how I came up with it either. It's someone else designed this stuff.
I mean, it's all over Stuef.com. It just is. Like, in terms of ratio, we have a lot of scrapbooks. That's like the biggest thing. We have movies and songs. That's like the second and third biggest things. And then you have DB Cooper. And then you have matches. And then you have Omega. But like DB Cooper is there 4 or 5 times. Like, it wasn't just one thing. It wasn't just Loki's sunglasses from an episode where he's playing DB Cooper and we can go, oh, well, was Forrest just pretending to be DB Cooper because this is an actor being DB Cooper? It's not even real. It's Loki. It's an actor being Loki. Loki is being DB Cooper. Like, you could dissect the shit out of it. But
there's a little mystery to this, isn't there?
A little bit, but then they fucking double down, they triple down, they quadruple down, they centuple down.
They put all those DB Cooper things on update 8 though, and if I'm not mistaken, you were on update 8 or episode 8 of X Marks the Spot.
Yes, so, and that was my DB Cooper and Back to the Future stuff.
Yeah.
Which Brandon made fun of me for. And by the way, Brandon and I had our interview length was actually about 2 hours long. 2.5 hours even. They used, 15 minutes? This is how it normally goes, right? But there was so much in that interview about Ha Ha Ha, the people who had discovered Ha Ha Ha. Hammertime, I know I brought you up. I brought up Stephanie and Mindy. There's so much more to that interview that they didn't use. And if Ha 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 has anything to do with Stuef.com, then I'm to myself understanding why they didn't. I'm sorry, but I only see a couple things in this. If you want the true solver in me, we have 3 letters presented to us. R-N-O. We have an R, we have an O, they confirm that. And then for the one movie where they gave us a letter, it was an N. That is the Reno airport code. They also give us Clark Gable. They also give us DB Cooper. That's the Ha 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 solve. Going to Reno, Clark Gable, where he filmed his final movie at Pyramid Lake with Marilyn Monroe, and DB Cooper. Ha Ha by DB Cooper. I mean, that's right. It.
I lied to you. I did say all that stuff on one, but like you said, there are other updates where you can tie it back. Even like on update 7, it was on 8.1, which is HA. So I mean, like, you could always find those DB Cooper like tie-ins. But even with Leroy's video, I do wonder if this is almost like an instruction. Like, yes, DB Cooper's in our face, but is there something else? Like how he presents it. Like, okay, yes, DB Cooper happened, but there was this alien thing. We need to find what else they're actually trying. What other thing happened on that day? Even though DB Cooper it's obviously important and it is like brought up multiple times. I feel like it's like the Leroy video is how we do that.
I mean, Kennedy was shot 2 days earlier, November 22nd.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's in our first song. So I'm like, I do go back to that one a lot. Is we have the ruby sunglasses are okay. Well, that could be, brought back up as well, like with the shooting too. I mean, I don't know. That was in the first song, and then you have the song cut at 51 seconds. So is that a hint towards Area 51, or is that a hint towards any kind of alien association? I don't know.
Well, you talk about
I camped at Area 51 a ton. I love Area 51.
You talk about JFK. There is a JF on the chest too that hasn't been explained yet either.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't know.
Go into the numerology of these things is where I peek in at, right? A lot of what you're talking about revolves around a set of numbers that are always together in a group, which could be 1 and 5, 1 and 0, maybe a 4. But what you look at least you tie in aliens, the first thing you Google, you may see aliens, a person that may come in contact would be like a Bob Lazar, right? And what Bob Lazar is famous for is whistleblowing the 115th element on the periodic table, which can sort of mingle into with why Forrest had lied about the age of the chest, which is also 115, but there's a 0 on the end. He left that 0 on there maybe to send you back to page 15 so that you could see what's on that page, sort of thing, giving you the intake of just a simple number, which would be 1 and 5. But he'll invert it too to make you think, it's 51, right? But at the all of ending of it, I'm guessing that the number 15 or the number 1 or the number 5 would have something to do with it, which also would equal the letter O, which would be the 15th letter of the alphabet, which is our sort of ending theme. While we're pounding O into our head, they're pounding the number 15 or 51 or 115 or 1150 into our head.
In our first update, which was 715, which you pointed out was go, which is GO. So I mean, I thought that was really interesting too.
But not like,
and also what really like always brings it back home with the alien talk and the element 115 is Hammer and I have had a very in-depth conversation about our like code words or like translations that we have found. Like how I found in X Marks the Spot, I found a cipher, and he had found one, and it was weird. The difference between ours was 115. The difference between our two words, which may have been a coincidence too, but I did find that really interesting that like after all this alien talk, that the difference between our ciphered words was 115. I don't know if you remember that or not, Hammer.
Yeah, go ahead, Hammer.
I remember.
Yeah.
I was going to mention, Galaxy mentioned that JF is also on page 99.
Yeah, I think
JF is going to end up being one of the biggest stories of the chase. That's my opinion. So you mentioned 15. What are the initials 15? 1-5. AE, Amelia Earhart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amelia Earhart gets brought up an awful lot too.
Yeah. Which
Albert Einstein, AE.
I know I've gone down the AE rabbit hole as well. And even our updates 3 and 4, they ended up being on the same day. And if we look at 423, if you have 3 and 4, they were on the same day, that leaves the 2. And I remember doing the 7-2 and that being Amelia Earhart's, that was when she went missing. And I don't know, there's a lot of 1 5s and 5 1s and 2 5s, and I don't know. It's there's so many like numbers, like you said, like they stick together. So it's
July 15. Oh shit! I just came up with a prediction date. I don't want to do that. No. Edit that out, Brian.
Let me guess. July 15th, 2000. Let me think. 2009?
No.
Hey, that's our go date.
That's our go date.
I met Forrest on July 7th. I think Ashley did the math.
7/7.
Yeah, It
That's
was a
today.
Friday night. It was a Friday night, and it was 2009. So I'm pretty sure that was July 7th.
Today is the anniversary of you and Forrest's date.
Oh, fuck, it is. Ah, how about that? 15 years ago today.
Oh shit! What number is that? How many years?
2009 to 2024.
Weird.
I don't go crazy when I say this, Ben, just so you know. Happy birthday, Mike Cowling.
That's even funnier.
So July 15th is go date. That's in 1 week from tomorrow.
That was me saying 15 because you guys were saying 15. I'm not saying July 15th means anything. I was just jumping in. That's all. I was being an idiot.
I've given up on guessing days.
So I'm gonna back up here a second and say a few words. So Ben, I want you to know, I don't know you. I've never technically met you, but I consider you a friend of the chase. Okay. Anybody else that has, ins and out with somebody, I can't, that's on you all. I'm going to be friends with everybody regardless of what the situation is. I just had somebody contact me today and we had a little conversation, and it was Greg Thompson. And he was talking about Greg Keller. I'll bring Greg Keller up. So, Greg Keller and the only way I know Greg Keller is because we worked on Fandango together. I met him once in Yellowstone. We got along, regardless of what has happened with everybody else. That's on everybody else. As far as I'm concerned, I'm friends with all of you. I don't take I'm not going to play favorites. I'm not going to do any of that garbage. But I just wanted to let you know, Ben, when I mentioned that, it wasn't a stab at you, okay?
No, it's fine. I totally get it, man.
When we start talking about July 7th, it reminded me of Mike's birthday today. So anyway.
No, I mean, none of that was on the top of my mind.
I just wanted to clear the air and I don't want you to think that I was being, that way.
I didn't even remember this was the day that I met Forrest. So it's fine. Trust me.
But that's pretty cool though. That's that you put those numbers together real fast.
Well, I mean, it's just, it became more important as the years went on, and it's interesting to me. And there's so much I want to say.
Spill it, man. Spill it. That beard's getting longer.
Well, I would just apologize to Greg Thompson. And I would just say, listen, man,
he knows that.
There was a lot of shit that was fucked up back then.
Hey, Ben, he also knows that there's a lot of things that he's said or done that I don't agree with.
And that's okay. And it is what it is. Yes. But I think those videos should come down. Not Greg Thompson's. I don't know what videos he has, but I do believe that any of the remaining Buffalo Bill videos should be taken down immediately, and we go from there.
Yeah. I'm not going to speak on any of that. That's I just wanted to let you know that even though but
I didn't want to shy away from it either. So
yeah. Well, and you've been straightforward about that. And I told Greg, I said, Greg, Ben has bent over backwards to, show his solidarity to you. So.
And I think I said something to Street. I don't remember because I smoked a lot of weed that night, but I'm pretty sure I said something to Street about how, listen, like if this goes further, if there's more to this, you guys, you Street are in. That's not like you're in some club. It's just, listen, I think we can all come back together here. And I think there's something larger at work. And when that something larger at work reveals itself, I think there's a place for everyone. And that should be the fun. If the fun doesn't include everyone, then what was the point?
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think we all just need to try to tone it down a little bit, get along, and let's just get through this. Something I just feel favorably that something's going to come, but just don't know when.
July 15th.
Maybe,
I don't
maybe
know.
we keep
I
we keep
honestly don't.
we keep moving the benchmark back and back and back. You know, who knows?
This is what I found and I loved about the internet back before the internet changed. And it was, if you went on any conspiracy theory message board, I would personally go on a website called abovetopsecret.com. And my username was my name, B Knapple or B Knapple 32, or I had a couple of them. And there was always an end date time. Most of them were like 2012 oriented, because I was on this website like originally in like 2004, but really on it in like 07 when I was in college, because I didn't want to pay attention in class. So I was always on these message boards, and it was 2012 or something else. There was always an end date, BK423. That might have been actually. Anyway, there was always an end date. There was always something, and I would jump in those message threads, and I'd be like, "Great, bookmarked. I can't wait to make fun of you when this date doesn't happen." Like, I would get in there and argue with people. I've hated end time dates since they became a thing on the internet, which is why it's ironic that I keep saying July 15th.
I feel like it's like the only thing you can do at this point is just try to guess when this ride's over, because
And what's over? What does that even mean? Right? Like, if this relies on someone solving it, there is no end date until someone solves Stuef.com. Are we talking about Shiloh's Fun and Answers? Do Shiloh's Fun and Answers have something to do with Stuef.com? Everyone thinks Shiloh's Fun and Answers are being delayed by Netflix being delayed, but what if his Fun and Answers are being delayed because no one has solved Stuef.com?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think that I do get that thought in my head too, is this isn't going to be solved, or we aren't going to get fun answers until someone like can figure it out. So I don't know.
That's unfortunate. If they're waiting for us to figure this out, we're in a lot of trouble, kids.
Yeah,
we're in a lot of trouble.
Like, so it is unfortunate.
Okay, I will say this. I'm going to give some hope, and I don't care what Stuef admin or the powers that be think. There was a moment, and I won't specify when because I don't want someone to try to read into it too much, because I don't know if the timing matters, because I do believe, I'll explain that after. Ask me why. In the fall of 2023, I was told, just because someone is close doesn't mean we're going to help them to the finish line. It would take away from their accomplishment to ever help them. And that told me at the time, oh, fuck, someone must be close. Now, did they want me to think someone was close? Fine, maybe. I don't know. X marks the spot never did that. Brandon never said anyone was close. In fact, all he did was lament about the idea that no one was ever close.
Yeah.
Stuef.com as an entity is letting me know, just because someone is close, Ben, doesn't mean we're going to help them. And what led to that statement, I could go back into it and try to find it, and it'll probably piss them off even more. But it was something generically like, what are we supposed to do, man? What happens if no one solves this thing? What are you going to do? And it was just because someone's close. Like, it was a really offshoot answer, but said a lot. So I do think that they believe someone was on the right track. Have they been veered off track by the noise? Perhaps. Has it stuck in the back of their minds since the fall of 2023? Maybe, probably, actually more than likely.
That means that
could this idea have even come from the summer of 2023?
We don't need this movie. We don't need the last movie. It doesn't matter. We just go back to the beginning of it.
You're saying fall of 2023.
Yeah.
So when you say fall of 2023, are you talking like October, November, or September?
Yeah, I'm talking anything from the end of September to the end of November.
Okay, so Whitney, when did you who was it was it Mama Q that pointed out about the Stuef.com going down?
Yeah, but then I
October 1st.
think it went, it was, I don't know. It was
What was
10-1.
it, Chris?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was October.
October 1st.
Hmm.
So maybe we need to go back to October 1st and see what was going on in Discord then.
How long did they go down for? It was hours?
I don't know.
It,
I don't know.
it was a whole day. Like, I think it was like, it might have been a few hours. I
I
can't
mean, that would be a pretty good hint. That's a hint that, oh, this is about to go down. Somebody's onto something here.
Okay, I have to agree with that.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say why. There has not been once, maybe not twice, possibly thrice moments where the powers that be have let me know, yeah, no, all things are good. And then it was, all things aren't good. And one of those times, I believe, coincided right around October. There was once at the end of July last year, kind of when the site was first getting going publicly, where they were like, this is going to happen. And they weren't saying someone's going to solve it. They were just saying other things behind the scenes are going to happen. Oh, they're going to hate me for this. And then it was the fall of 2023 where they were like, okay, something behind the scenes is going to happen. And it didn't happen. And that kind of coincided with the beginning of winter. And then now we're at a point in time where, let's go there. Now we're at a point in time where for the last 4.5, 5 months, I was told everybody is going to go silent on you, Ben. And when everyone goes silent on you, that doesn't mean it's going to happen right away because things can change, but that does mean something's going down. And I will say everyone's gone silent.
So here's
Not
another.
everyone, but everyone.
So I didn't think about this until Mama Q pointed it out. She says the flies were gone on October 1st.
Yeah, you ended
They went there in the. Sorry.
No, I feel like that was when you ended it, was the first, right? I can't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure that is when I ended, huh?
Yeah.
I can't either. It's almost, but it was right around that time because I had Mama Q go get them like a week later.
Yeah. It was.
You were talking about the 14th was your official end date. I know that.
Yeah, because it was going to be like a wedding anniversary situation.
Right, but then but another snowstorm came in early.
So now you have. Are those two connected?
Could they be?
Well, I mean, and that would mean the people behind Stuef.com would have to be involved with the flies, but the flies weren't retrieved until they were retrieved. The website started first. What how does that all connect? What's the point?
I mean, I've kind of always thought all of this was connected.
I just don't get how they connect. Unless the flies were more important than people understood. Then it could connect because they'd always be keeping an eye on the flies. It would always be relevant to whatever it is their plans are.
Whoa, let's back up. What do you mean the flies? That'd have to mean the flies were important.
Yeah.
Somebody offered you what, $50,000 for him? 40,000?
40-something thousand was the top offer, and I got two separate bids for it. It wasn't one person, it was two people. And Cynthia was another bid at 10,000, and that was the night of.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Well, and he's also stated that he thinks that it could have been the blaze, which I think that would be really creative if it was, because I think I've told you this, Ben, before, but I think of a pirate in his body. He has a peg leg and a hook for a hand. And so if it was damaged, if the blaze was damaged, well, his hand would have been damaged because it would have been a hook. And then with Peggy being part of the ending, if you think about the feet and legs or whatever, you think of Peggy. And I don't know, I go back and forth with that being, they all have to kind of go together. And then I did think it was funny. That's why I brought up the bee touching Peggy whenever you do fold it in half, them touching one another if you were to make a paper airplane. Now, what does that do? I don't know. What does that tell us?
Where does that take us? I like what you've done with that, because I think, because when I first saw Stuef.com, I wasn't paying much attention to it because I got emailed about it, and I was not paying that much attention to it. Like I said, I didn't pay attention to X marks the spot. I finally got to a point where, you know, whoever this person is, even if they're maybe not connected, I don't know. Maybe it was legit and they just pointed it out to me, blah, blah, blah. But I felt like, well, okay, well, maybe I need to get involved with it. So that's kind of what I did. I just dabble in it. I don't go down a bunch of rabbit holes with it. But you doing the airplane thing. So when they put the border up on the sides, the black, to separate everything, that's when I was like, it made me think of Mad Magazine. You know how you used to fold the picture to make another picture? So, and then they added the paper airplane, which even told me, okay, well, that's got to mean something. You know, like what do they call those paper where you fold down? Origami? Is that what it's called?
Origami.
Yeah, origami. I've never been into that, but it made me think about that. But I like what you did there.
Well, you know, I can't remember who brought it up, was somebody that bringing up like folding it. So I like legit folded it. And I mean, there's so many ways to fold a paper airplane, which, I mean, I did the most basic one, but you know, I don't know if it tells us anything, but
I also remembered something else these people told me.
Ben got nervous. Ben got nervous. So here's what it is. You notice Ben left us for a little bit. He was getting nervous. So he had to go back and readjust his conversation in his head. So, okay, tell us what you want to tell us.
Tell us about these people.
I don't think I've explained to folks the basis or the premise behind they're all going to scramble with the final update. I don't think I've explained what brought on that comment. You know what? I forgot. There was a comment I made of, why is it? What were you guys talking about before? Just now.
The flies, and then we talked about
the flies. It's weird how they also told me, hey, Ben, there will be one person who actually will make sense to you. No one else will. No one else will care. In fact, that's the point. We don't want them to care. And it was like a confusing statement. What do you mean you don't want them to care? I think, of course, they know everyone's going to care. I think they're trying to set up a moment of where you least expect it. I think they've been desperately trying that. And if anything, and sorry, Brandon Morgan, but you called me a disruptor. This is me disrupting. I think their main goal, aside from giving us the truth, is to do it when we least expect it, because that's what Forrest wanted. The problem is they used me to do it, and I'm kind of getting in the way, because I believe from the bottom of my heart these people are real, and then that means when we least expect it is coming sooner than we think.
Interesting. Y'all have any comment on that?
Does that disregard what you said earlier, then, that one person would have to solve, or not just one person, people would have to solve Stuef.com?
I think they have to have either been super involved with us, which I believe we all agree on, and they know that person has reached another milestone, a checkpoint in a Mario level, if you will, or they'll do something, a nudge, just because it's ordained in the script, because part of our conspiracy theories involve Jack being nudged. And everything about this Stuef.com site seems to mimic the chase. So even if a nudge needs to happen, fine, they'll nudge. They don't care. It's different than, oh, you guys were all so stupid you couldn't solve it, and it's the speed of sound through brass.
I found it interesting that you mentioned Mario.
Mario's interesting.
It's
I don't know
it's
that I
interesting
agree
that
with
you
him.
mentioned Mario.
Sure. I mean, Mario
find
Brothers is, give the poem to a kid. I'm sorry, but Forrest Fenn views kids as anyone 30 or under at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So give the poem to someone who, played Mario Brothers, lived in the 80s, watched E.T., Indiana Jones.
Question for you, Ben, from the room. It says, Ben, are you guiding us or solving like the rest of us? How can it be both?
That's the dollar question. Are we playing against Ben Knapple? Are we playing with Ben Knapple? That's always been the question.
I think the powers that be would have set up a situation where it's both. You're playing with me and you're also playing against me. And they wouldn't have it any other way.
Chris has something to say, I think.
He's brewing over there.
I'm just listening. It sounds good. I don't really have much other than, I could see that being until you wake up and are like, this is what's going on. It sounds like it's kind of up to you in that context, in a way. And I don't know. I see you as a big time influencer because of the way that you do it. I mean, you have thick skin and you don't really get too caught up in the drama other than if it's just, it could be a drunk night or it's just annoying because you get a lot of it. So I admire how you can handle yourself without just going off the rocker. And so you're a good person to be in the position, if that's what it is, to sort of help guide and people will trust you because you're not a capitalist or a money-driven type person within this chase. You're just searching for answers like everybody else is. And that's a good thing to have, I suppose, if you're trying to naturally guide a cult or whatever you want to call it into the dream that everybody wants, which is to be a part of this in some degree.
I like what
Josh Jordan is going to clip that shit.
I like what you said there, Chris. Here's the thing. Somebody in the chat earlier mentioned how you and Ben must be lost brothers. It might have been Alan Kelly. I don't remember now.
I think it was. I think I seen that and scrolled through when I saw Alan's comments in there.
That's what I was implying is I could see it. And I do think Hammer tells me all these things, like with this past update, with all these things, like all these coincidences and everything else. And then I even think about DB Cooper and Loki, and I'm like, okay, well, Thor has a hammer. I'm like, okay, well,
but Loki and Thor are brothers.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
That's what she's saying.
That's it. That's the story. Skippy and Forrest. Loki and Thor. Forrest is Thor. Skippy is Loki.
And we have aka Loki's glasses in there. We're just missing the hammer, I think. So,
but you also have to.
Amazing how that works out.
Okay, but you also have to throw in Peggy in there somehow.
Okay, well, listen, Thor didn't have a wife. That's not part of the story. And I think Peggy would be the first to admit, listen, that doesn't work. Thor didn't have a wife. However, I do think Peggy has to have a higher role in all of this. I do think it's actually Peggy who wrote the poem.
Hey, Chris, it's your birthday.
Oh, boy.
It's her birthday today?
No, I said, when is Chris's birthday?
Oh. It's October 3rd.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When is Peggy's birthday? Now I'm curious.
No, when did Peggy pass away?
Ooh, in October.
October
3rd.
October 3rd?
They have that.
Stop that. That involves choice. No one chooses when to die. We can't go there.
Yeah. So I want to point out.
probably, right?
What do you mean?
Didn't Fenn say that he wanted to like pick his death day and like choose when to die?
No, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
I'm not trying to say throw out the whole idea. With Peggy, it's a little trepidatious. With Forrest, it isn't. Forrest talked about his own father committing suicide. Forrest talked about strange discrepancies with his own brother's death, and he talked about his own suicide. So I think that's all fair game. Peggy, on the other hand, I just can't go there.
Off limits.
It feels like it, and I'm not trying to say holier than thou here. You might be right. Peggy might have been so into this. Idea. I'm trying to put her in Ashley's shoes right now. Right now, I'm putting her in Ashley's shoes. If I was 90 and Ashley was 89, I'm just making up numbers now. If I'm 90 and Ashley's 89, and I say, listen, we've done this whole mystery our whole lives. Let's end it the right way. That's the way to go out. I think Ashley would actually agree with me, even though she wouldn't allow you people to know that. You'd all go, oh, you can't talk about when Ashley died. That's not fair, blah, 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 just like I'm doing right now. But Ashley would have done what I wished her to do. Is that possible with Forrest and Peggy? 100%. But you'd have to start with Peggy had a huge influence on this chase that we didn't know about first.
Yeah. And I think it is a valid statement because we even have an update on 10-3. So, I mean, like there's 10-3 is important. Birthdays are important. I feel like, 9/7 is important, especially when it comes back to the Future, but also anniversaries. Like there are dates that we need to remember. So I just think it is weird that they connect in that way.
He's rotating the screen again.
A connection that you can get like that's in a row that'll meet you more on it will be that Irene and then Peggy and then Forrest's mom all died in consecutive days. October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Yeah. All of them died. All the prominent women in the family all died one day after each other. And I think that's an interesting thing as well. So the October 3rd thing is just my birthday. It didn't really mean much other than the fact that, they're just trying to make a statement for that day for some reason. I mean, we got sent back to page 103 in The Thrill of the Chase. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Spally's or somebody out there put the page 103, which is in My War for Me, I believe, part that had all the answers to our Adam Sandler update with the stands, the hourglass, all that shit. And I looked at that and I was like, oh damn. But there's just like a connection with these numbers when they get grouped together. Wherever they lie, you just sort of, I don't know. It's weird. In a room full of people, you could find two people that match with the same birthday fairly easy as well. Even though there's 365 days in a year and there could be 50 people in a room, the odds of two people having the same birthday out of 50 people are pretty high. And in a general sense, it's like a mentalist thing that they do for like bar tricks. They'll make like a little gamble on something. Hey, I bet, I could find two people with the same birthdays in this place. And they're like, what? That's crazy. No way. And they don't think the odds, but then it ends up actually happening. Like, what? How? Like, it's just like choosing the number 7, out of 1 out of 10, 70% of the people are going to choose 7 because it's easier to say type thing maybe. But to push off of the 10-3 and then Peggy, though, it could be simply Stuef.com in the future relaying off of that because it already happened. And then so
I feel like
the time,
a specific update too was very big in my opinion because there's 3 updates that like really connect, which that was the 1/17 and 25. That's the whole reason I bought that dang disc was the 1/17/25. And so it was a very important update to me because it connected.
I mean, you brought it to my attention, and you know, and the dates. Obviously, if you're a person that already knows what you can see, right, it's easier for you to just take it in. Like, so October 3rd is my birthday. It's easy for me to just October 3rd right away. If I see 10/3 or October 3rd, immediately, right? When y'all throw out memes for the Mean Girls, right? That whole entire movie is over the based off of October 3rd. The Phenomenon movie. I remember the birthday in that because he gets all the way down to the time exactly of, you know, how old
I
somebody
love that
is.
movie. I love that.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love it too.
Phenomenon.
So I always remember parts that are attributes of myself that are unique versus the world, and they stay with me. And you know, that's just how I am. But
Brian, let's listen to the song,
Listen to what song?
the newest one.
Oh, the newest one.
Oh, Billy Shaw just says we've been told to listen to the music. Right. Let's listen to the music together. And then if we have to pause it, let's pause it.
And after this song, I'm probably gonna have to hop off, but I can stay for the song. Sorry.
Let me get
I
it
wanted
pulled.
to say that before y'all started that.
I'd already closed it.
I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick.
You're gonna miss a song.
I think the song's important, but you know.
Oh yeah.
I just want to point out real quick before I share this. Whitney is pointing the finger at you, Ben, and you, Chris. But
it can't be both of us. It can't be both of us.
Okay, but you all don't have a black screen behind you. Looks like the chalkboard. Stuef.com.
Well, I just mean, as I said with Pam and Dorothy earlier, names are meant to be put into this for a reason.
On screen
so I didn't mean it is just one specific person. Obviously, I think it always goes back to Peggy and Forrest, but people are put into this puzzle for a reason.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. But nobody pointed out your background, so I just wanted to point that out. That looks like a chalkboard.
Whitney is the most sus. Let's press play.
Hey, I mean,
I mean, come on. She brings up XMS all the time. Yeah,
all the time, all the time.
Let me know if y'all can hear this.
No, I can't.
You can hear it?
No,
barely. No, yeah, not at all.
Maybe if I play it from my phone. Oh.
What it is ain't exactly clear.
No. There we go. There we go.
There's a man with a gun over there.
A gun.
Me, I got to beware. I think it's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody, what's going down?
I love that guitar riff.
Yeah. We can't hear it though. That's the only bad part about it.
Can't hear it?
It's going in and out.
Only when he sings. We can only hear it when he sings. Why don't you try it on YouTube or something? Okay. Or are you gonna get a check mark for that?
I guess I could. I mean, I'll try it.
Spotify. Do you have Spotify?
No, I do not do Spotify.
Spotify is the reason to get around the YouTube loopholes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only reason to get it.
So I'm just
playing... like the guitar riffs and shit, we can't hear that, which is, you know, part of the song.
Yeah, yeah. I can allow Whitney to share if you want me to.
All right. Whitney, you try it.
Trying to play the song?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on a minute. Multiple participants can share. Okay, you should be able to share.
Wait, can you just hear it from my phone?
Yeah.
That song, it feels purposeful, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it does.
What's going
down? For the longest time, I thought until the other day that song was sung by Creedence Clearwater Revival. I swear, the whole entire I even think I put in chat real quick CCR, and then I went and like someone put Buffalo Springfield, and then it was weird because in my head I was like, we did the live at Springfield, and then I had went back. I was like, Creedence Clearwater Revival. We got a second Creedence Clearwater Revival song in there, and then I got really confused after that, realizing that it was not them, and it was Buffalo Springfield.
Have we ever wondered if the powers that be behind this site are actually speaking to current events within the chase?
I believe they are.
I know
They're trying to keep people active. Yeah.
But if they're speaking to people, if they're speaking to current events, then some of this can't be also hints to their original plan. It can't be both, right?
Right.
Then you got a whole new wrinkle. Now you got to figure out if they're trying to speak to current events, or are they speaking to hints, or are they speaking to clues? Fucking hell.
Why couldn't it be both at the same time, though?
Yeah, I feel like it would be all inclusive.
Well, that's even better. Then to me, if I saw the hallmark of that, if the signature was we were speaking to both at the same time, hot damn. You people are brilliant.
Talking about two different aspects of it. Like if the music was completely separate, or like our music right now is not going to help us find our movie because it was supposed to be hinted towards a current event or whatever, or the movie is something that's hinted or whatever. Like they're two different elements, and maybe that's how you can do both.
Well, it could be hinting at a group and then a solitary person at the same time. So the solitary person recognizes what they need to see, and then the group is thinking on two different levels. They're thinking, is it about a solitary person? Is it about me as a solitary person? And then they have to put themselves into the shoes to observe to see if it would be about anybody else in there. So they'd have to be a spectator and a true solver at the same time in order to know if they were doing simultaneous waves. I don't know if that makes any sense. So put yourself like, if I were to make myself a true solver, right? And I'm like, they're directly talking to me, I would have to prove they were directly talking to me by letting you know they weren't talking to you either. But if they were talking to you, they'd have to talk to you in chase way, and they'd talk to me in a certain way because I held a different attribute and solve. They would be talking about my solve, and then
let's pretend that they are talking to someone. I mean, like, what are they saying? Like, what is the point? What is okay? Let's just pretend they're talking to you, Hammer. What is the point? Like, for someone to guess the name, or is it to? Is there a message they're trying to, an instruction that they're trying to convey? What is the point of singling one person out in chat or in updates or whatever?
That's what because I think that they have, you got to think of how Forrest ended it in a way with the solver having the ability to do what they want with it. And you could be feeling that, right? You just don't have any idea what's going on, but something is happening. Something's being corralled so that it can be done a certain way. And you're a part of that. You just don't realize that you are, or you're just so confused. But enough of y'all are sucked in enough to where if you got a right a frequency that came in that was chase related, it would suck you right back in. Because it could be something that was an attribute to you, right? In the past that you're like, but it brings you back into the chase. And it could be in 900 years from now. It could be in 5 years. But it seems that whoever had the ability to do any of this has already done it, and that they are trying to do something, and just something hadn't caught on yet. And that's fair because it seems like this has been going on since about 1971, or at least until the little boy found the money in the Columbia River. If you're marrying it up to DB Cooper and you play it,
what year did he find that? Was it
1980?
1980?
Yeah, 3,000 days exactly from the hijacking. So it was February 10th of 1980. So 2/10, 1980, and is when he found the $5,800 or whatever. And the story behind all that is real evidence, right? Whether the powers be that the little boy was part of some organized crime that was told to go out there and do it, doesn't matter. The fact that it happened on that day, and then the hijacking happened on that other day, and everything that happened in between on a coincidence. That's how you'd have to look at it if you're playing that in a game. And that's why you marry it up into the Forrest Fenn thing. I don't know why the procrastination exists in our head of what's going on, but we're clearly playing the game still, and we're trying to figure out what's going on while someone else is giving us hints. Just like Ben said, they would take away glory for somebody to be told the answer, especially maybe if they are close, right? If they are close enough to where someone knows in the background, hey, we're good. It's going to happen at this point. We already know, like we can see what's happening, the development into it. Now we just got to wait it out. And then this is the shit that you're seeing. They're just not admitting it because, imagine the president telling everybody that the world's ending, right? Like they're either going to believe him or, you're just going to have chaos. And, if you can't really create that with this because you'd be giving it away from the person that is trying to develop it, which would be the freedom of the solver.
I like it. That makes me want to smoke a bong.
Bongy bong.
Actually need to get off here, but y'all keep going. I'll just hop in chat or whatever. But
Thanks,
thank
Blackboard.
y'all so much for what?
Thanks for the Blackboard.
Yeah.
Over here, thanks for the Blackboard.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. Hey Whitney, before you go, how does it feel to be the #1 suspect person in the fucking chase?
I love it when y'all say that I'm sus. I'm like, oh, good, I'm playing.
So before you go, Whitney, real quick, I think Ben was gone both times you showed the plane, the paper airplane.
Oh, he's seen it. He's seen it.
Did you see it? Have you seen it?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Ben, have you seen the paper airplane?
Don't
you
walk away, sir.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Okay, I'll hop in chat. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks.
Goodbye, Whitney.
Looks like Chris froze up on us. He's freezing up on us. His
face looks like he's very confused, though.
You look like that day I had this on.
See ya.
Go ahead. Can we hear you? He's having technical difficulties.
Yeah,
Go figure.
I know
my there he is.
My laptop is acting weird all of a sudden. The battery won't get in, and
they're both sus.
Anything.
Aren't they? Aren't they?
You got one with a padded. You got one with a padded wall, for crying out loud. You got one with a black wall. I mean, come on.
I said the same thing to Ashley. I was like, he's got the padded wall. He's set up for this. This is all bullshit.
And he can't talk, which is great. And he's got the clip playing on the TV screen, for crying out loud.
Right?
Yeah.
Of the other guys. The other guys, by the way, again, fantastic movie.
I was waiting for one of you all to bring it up, but
I was trying hard to figure it out. You can go back. I'm like looking at the screen and I'm like, what is this? Oh, I see the boobs. The boobs are familiar, but like, what was it from? And it was the other guys. It makes perfect sense.
Oh, well, this is pretty good. So I think everybody has to go back to October 1st as a possibility. Find out what was going on being said around that time. Maybe there's something to October 1st.
Maybe.
Maybe. Anything's possible.
All I know is we have no countdown clock update. We haven't solved the last two movies. It does feel like we're losing.
It does, doesn't it?
There's no other way to slice this puppy. We're losing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if the two clips are connected to each other.
Right?
Maybe they have the same message, but they're not connected. They don't seem connected at all. I mean, we have two different scenes, completely two different scenes.
But we've had this before, and it
Yeah.
kind of looked like they were separate. You know,
That's
for
true.
instance,
That's true. Fool's
the
gold.
fool's gold. I go right back to the fool's gold. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, we had a harbor, and then we had a ship at sea, so it did look interconnected. But
Yeah.
maybe the same thing is happening here. Someone is hiding in the woods, and then there's a couple people at a marina who are trying to say, "Where the fuck is our person?" I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out, man. It's bothering the shit out of me. I hate it. I should have never talked shit to Stuef Admin. Brian, again, let's get this on record too. Stuef Admin had a running count with me. Okay? A full running count with me. And it was how many times they could put out a movie that I wouldn't get because it started after a while. We were at 10-0, Ben. 11-0, Ben. 12-0, Ben. And then there was a moment where it was like a week before Stuef Admin said, "Good luck with the next one." And I was like, ooh, oh, okay, let's go. I'm ready.
Game on, game on.
And then I think they even do it while I'm live. No, the one they did while I was live, I figured out in 2 seconds, which actually gave me credibility that I could figure this out in 2 seconds. So the one that they did after this wasn't while I was live, but as soon as it happened, I gave it 15 minutes solid, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm not gonna get this one." and of course I kept trying, and I couldn't find it. And then I think that might have been Fool's Gold.
Yeah.
And they did the hint, and I think it was Starry Night who got it, and they messaged me as soon as Starry Night got it and said, "Ben 12, Stuef Admin 1." And they started keeping track of how they could get back at me. And ever since then, these movies have been so much harder to find.
Yeah, they have. They have.
I take full responsibility.
Thanks, Ben.
You may not like it, but that's reality. Stuef Admin had a running fucking tally with me. And they've kept it going. We're at like 12-6 now or something like that. Like, I haven't increased.
You're decreasing.
I'm I hadn't even seen the fucking Adam Sandler movie. I've never seen that movie.
I hadn't either. I went back
I've
and
never seen the when they went to a television show, Brian. Fuck that shit.
Sherlock Holmes?
That's cheating. That I said the same thing to Stuef Admin. You're cheating now. That's a television show. That's not a movie. What is this shit?
And it makes me wonder if that's what this is, maybe a TV show or something.
But that's not fair.
Yeah. But how's it not fair?
No. It's not fair. They've only used movies.
Who says they can only use movies, though? Huh? I just lost you, Ben. Maybe it's my internet.
Man,
I don't know. It's weird. Mine's just like everywhere.
Can you see me now?
I think we've gotten hijacked.
Who can see who right now?
We're all good now. I think we're back.
Stuef Admin doesn't want us talking about this. I say we keep going.
I see glimpses of things. That's about it.
Y'all
are like blotches of things.
Dude, someone is fucking with this. Now my stuff's paused.
Yeah, your stuff was paused.
What the fuck?
Now a little virus going on.
Let me flip my frozen keys over. They're not so frozen anymore, but they're still cold. Hold on.
It's probably the
Welcome
FBI.
to
This is weird.
CIA, FBI. Yeah.
You think the FBI? I think it's Game Master.
Everybody's getting fucked with right now. This is amazing. I love this. I love this. This is the best moment of the post-Chase world we're in. We're literally getting hacked right now. You've probably heard every other word of what I've been saying. This is fantastic. This is fantastic.
Could you hear us, Chris, at all?
Yeah, I could hear you, but you're in and out quite a bit.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch it on
Chris,
YouTube.
Chris, is there a tornado outside your home right now? No, there is not a tornado outside his home right now.
There's not.
No reason. There is no reason for this.
It was raining earlier.
Well, actually, it was raining earlier. There is no reason for this interference that we are receiving.
Just the Wi-Fi.
No. I feel like Woody Harrelson in the movie 2012. I'm trying to tell you people the Yellowstone caldera is about to fucking blow, and none of you are hearing it. It's glorious.
That's why I'm here.
I'm pretty sure that's what he says. He goes, he watches it blow up, and he's like standing on a hilltop that looks like familiar-wise the Southern California hills, and he goes, "It's glorious."
Yeah. Well, so something was pointed out in chat, the explanation of what's going on.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. Give it to us.
Whitney says, I left and hijacked your all's Wi-Fi.
This makes a lot of sense, Brian. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
Let's understand why Whitney is so sus. Let's get into this. Whitney joined X Marks the Spot. There was no reason for that. It wasn't that good of a podcast. It was a good podcast if you were listening for Forrest Fenn content. In fact, I think they did a very good job of it. But then they fucked you and said there's a treasure hunt. And so then you bit the nugget. And then you bit the nugget. And then they gave you the stupidest, worst ending of all time through this guy. And you're still here? I don't think so.
I don't know. She seems pretty legit. Who was the person that you were in contact?
She was legit until she was still here. That's her problem.
Yeah. Who was the person you were in contact with, the female from X Marks the Spot?
Margot.
Yeah.
Margot was Brandon's like right-hand man.
And Margaret was the real name? Or a fake
name? We hung out with Margot in person.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time together there in October of 2020. I don't remember. 2 or 3. 2022. Yeah, no, she's sus as fuck. She was Good Samaritan in the podcast, and she was Good Boy Sam in the Discord.
Was she the one at the very end that?
We're not getting any of that, Chris. Sorry, man.
Whoa, no, sorry. I didn't hear it. What? No?
Go ahead. Try again.
I couldn't
hear. Yeah. What'd you say, man? I don't hear him.
Hey, put it in chat.
I was asking Margot.
Oh my God. This is
Whitney, leave him alone. Crying out loud.
Hammer, you're getting fucked by the internet, man. And I don't even mean to interrupt the one time that it got through. Type it in right now.
Type it in chat. We need to have Ashley on next time. She's sus too.
Do you want her to replace me? I mean, do you want to keep streaming?
No.
I will have her. No, I'm not even kidding. Or I'll have her join us if you'd like. But I don't know how long you're going to go for.
Does Sunday work out for you?
Listen, it's the middle of July in Arizona. This is our winter. I'm outside because I'm a madman. Everybody else is inside. Schools are closed. There's no lines anywhere. Everybody's inside right now.
What's the temperature right now?
Huh?
What's a
Right now, I'll look it up. Hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna guess without looking at it. 113.
Oh my gosh. And
I'm
is
gonna
that-
guess that. We're gonna see what the Weather Channel loads up. Hold on.
We're
And
actually
my
getting,
phone.
getting a little rain right now, which I was surprised. I just looked outside. I'm like, crap, it's kind of a little cloudy and got some rain.
Okay, so here's what it says: 112 and sunny.
Wow.
Damn.
112.
That's crazy.
One, no.
What's the heat?
112.
What's the heat index? Like 120?
No, it's 112 still. Both are 112.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's just a full-on 112. You know, I saw that last year. It would say 112, and then it would go, well, the real feel is this, and I'd go, then just list that as the temperature. I've noticed it's always just been whatever the temperature is. If it says 108, it's 108.
Yeah. So
That's where we're
Mama Q says, cheers, 7-Ups all around. What's the deal with 7-Ups?
That's what DB Cooper ordered. He ordered a 7 and 7, basically.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. And ironically or unironically, that was my drink of choice as a 20-year-old. Like if you actually hung out with me in the casinos in Vegas, 7 and 7. It's a very easy drink to drink.
Yeah. So Whitney says, moo ha ha.
I don't know what she's hoo-ha-haing about.
Yeah. So I recently watched, I was pretty sure the clip that we just got from Stuef.com was Pierce Brosnan.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So I was watching the movie and I seen the part where he's on the beach somewhere. Gosh, my mind's going blank now. What movie was it? Anyway, he orders a Jack on the Rocks. And he goes, if it's good enough for Jack, it's good enough for me. And the guy goes, who's Jack? And he goes, Frank Sinatra. I thought that was so funny.
Do you know what Brandon's avatar is?
If it's good enough for Frank, it's good enough for me. Who's Frank? Frank Sinatra.
Brandon's avatar in our little texting app that we would communicate with, his avatar was young Frank Sinatra mugshot.
Ah. And who has a picture of Frank Sinatra behind him when they go live?
That's me.
Yeah.
It makes me snort. I'm in the pool now. I don't know if you can tell.
You do snort a lot.
When I snort, I'm laughing.
I wish I had $1 for every time you snorted live.
Dude, that's just me laughing. You guys are hilarious people, and I love you all.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Well,
I had to get into the pool so that I could get my swimming trunks short or wet so that I can cool my phone off. That's what you have to do in Arizona.
Well, yeah, 112, 113 degrees. I can see why.
Your phone will heat up very quickly. So the frozen peas are no good anymore. So now I need something else to cool my phone off. So eventually I'm going to put my phone at my swimming trunks and they'll cool it off.
I'm going to Google this whole frozen pea thing just to see if I get a hit on it.
You're not going to get a hint or a hit.
Yeah, a hint.
You're not going to get any of that. I don't know enough to give that kind of information.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. I dropped the beer.
Alan says I prefer 212. What's 212?
Now it's spilling everywhere.
What'd you do?
I dropped the Coors Light.
The boiling temperature.
I'm still missing out on you, Chris. Sorry, man.
Whoops, Daisy. My beer is spilling. We're having a grand old time on July 7th, 2024. Year of our Lord.
The year of the Lord.
The year of our Lord, 2024. That's a thing.
That's a thing, really? I didn't know that.
I hear it all the time in my gambling streams. They'd say the year of our Lord and whatever year it is. That's obviously a prayer of some kind.
It's amazing the things you learn every single day. Just when you think just then when you think you've heard everything, Ben shows up with another one. What's that?
I was gonna say, when do you think the next big thing happens? Because that's where my head's at. I'm at the point in the show where I've seen all the episodes enough times. I feel like I know what's coming. Tell me when it's coming.
Well, see, I don't pay enough attention to it to just make a guess like that.
There has to be. There has to be. If they've done it as brilliantly as I think they've done it, any person who was even passively paying attention could be able to figure it out.
Well, see, that's what I was pointing at in Discord here a while back. I was like, am I like the last person to figure out what the frick is going on? And somebody's like, no, you're not the last. I'm the last, or something like that. You know, it was.
But I think you've almost been conditioned to think like that.
Well, that could be.
And so maybe you shouldn't
think
like that.
Well, that's possible.
I don't know. Either something happens pretty soon or nothing. Like, okay, let's make a dichotomy out of it. And God forbid if I was actually, what's the term? If I was actually at war, like people think, right? I wouldn't say what I'm saying unless I knew what I was talking about. If nothing happens this summer, something is wrong. And that something is wrong could only mean for me. It could mean that Shiloh needed to make a point out of me. And he needed to show everyone that even if you think you're telling the truth, you're not. And if you think you can get to us and get us to tell you information, you can't, whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's all real. That's the dichotomy I think people should ask themselves. And I'm sorry that the topic involves me, but it does. But the dichotomy, the choice that you have to make is still there. Either Shiloh is lying to make a point to involve me and embarrass me, or Shiloh is telling the truth. And it has nothing to do with me, but he's telling the truth. Yeah. And if he's telling the truth, then you have a whole slew of options, but they're all exciting. Right. They're all fun.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm hopeful that something's going to come of this. What that something is, I don't know. I may be the last one to figure it out. So be it. You know, I'm here. There's
nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's a race right now. I actually don't.
I don't think it is either. I mean, like I said, I have sent questions to Stuef admin and not gotten 1 ounce. I've not gotten one response back.
Right. But you know what? If you equated that directly to the Forrest Fenn chase, you could go, well, that must mean you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You could go down that path, is what I'm saying.
Right.
If Stuef, it does feel as if someone was going to solve this because it's easy, it would have been solved. If someone was going to solve this because it's fake and hard, too hard, X marks the spot hard, and they had to have someone else solve it, that would have also happened by now with the delays that have happened. Now you're left with neither of those options, and that leaves you with what Stuef admin and company have hinted to me, which is someone was close, I think, in the fall of 2023, and that's it.
Yeah. That's very possible.
What comes from that, I don't know.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, yeah, I agree. And that's why I was listening today, and I'm like, you know, what you said, what Whitney was pointing out, what Chris said, let's go back to October 1st and see what was going on. I mean, you know, you never know. Maybe something will come of it. I have no idea. I think it's a starting point at this point in time while we're kind of trying to figure out this clip We got zeros all over the board. I mean, at what time the volcano?
The zeros are concerning to me.
The zeros are concerning.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that, and I don't like it. It feels like a challenge. It feels like you people haven't done something, and we can't make it more painfully clear that you haven't.
Right.
And you won't get what you want unless you do what we have
planned
prescribed.
out.
Yeah. Planned out. And that's what we're facing. So a great test of that hypothesis would be we figure out the first movie, the second movie, they're both the same movie, whatever. We figure out a movie, we present that solution with proof, then we see what Stuef Admin and company do. Does the counter start? Do we get another update?
That's what I'm trying to
know.
Figure out. That's why I keep saying we need to figure out this movie to see what the next move is.
Maybe that's how we figure out the end game here. Maybe they've been waiting for that. Maybe they have wanted us to fail. Maybe we should have failed collectively as a unit back in December. And if we had failed to pinpoint the movie, then the final game would have begun. We don't know where their heads are at.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that's where we're at right now. I think our only motivation besides a main solve, because good luck, I don't fucking know. And if you do, fantastic. DM it to Stuef Admin. But aside from that, I think every single person who is remotely invested in the website needs to figure out the movie.
I agree. Trust me, I've been trying.
And then we get to see so much. Because so much time has gone, we get to see, does Stuef Admin even have a response to that? Does it not even matter? We solve the movie, the website stays the same. The zeros stay the same. Well, then we learn after a few days, we got to give it a day or two, but after a few days, then we learn, well, shit, that had nothing to do with it. But we've learned something because that had nothing to do with it, didn't we?
Right.
That's where we're at right now. And maybe they are hyper focusing on that. Like, you guys haven't gotten something, so we're going to go back to basics here, and we're going to go back to basics with the things that we know because we observe you. We're going to go back to basics with things that we know you pay attention to immediately, and that's movies and songs. And like Whitney has said, at some point it changed and they started using the songs and or the movies for a different purpose.
That could be. I agree. And not to mention, this last clip, we got the broken mirror next to Clark Gable's hat. I was trying to figure that out, trying to connect the dots to link us to a movie. That didn't work. So I have no idea. I don't know. But I will keep trying, just like everybody else, hopefully. Don't give up. You still there, Ben? Or did I lose you? Oh my gosh. Is there nobody left?
No, I mean, I'm here. I just had to cool off. I had to cool off my phone.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
I got into the pool so that I could press my phone against my cold board shorts, and it would actually cool down my phone from a point where the temperature is too hot and your phone shuts down.
So here's an idea. Do you have one of those little cases that you can take your phone in the water with you?
All the kids do. I don't.
You don't? You need one of those.
I mean, probably, honestly, because then I'd never leave the pool, and that could be strategically why Ashley hasn't given me one.
Yeah,
I would never leave.
Tell you what, thanks for coming on and sweating with us, drinking a cold beverage. Appreciate it. Glad to have you.
No problem, man. It was fun, and I think a lot more people could have fun with this website. So it's cool that you do this.
Hey, it's the least I could do, and I will bring Ashley on next time.
She was already telling me she wanted to invade. I think she just wants her own time with you. So, like, the next time you do this, please, Ashley wants to join.
Okay, we'll do that.
100%.
I'd
consider it done, man.
All righty. Well, Ben, thanks, man. Have a good rest of your weekend, what's left of it.
You as well, sir. You as well.
Yep.
Hopefully we get an update out of nowhere. I will add everyone in the Discord, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, we'll keep commiserating until we find this damn fucking movie.
I agree. I'm using everything I can to figure it out, and I can't. I've asked my family. Nope, nothing.
We're all in the same boat, and I think they knew it would come to this, and they're having a chuckle.
So, do you know who Dr. Disrespect is?
I listened to Dr. Disrespect actually on one of the most recent Krasenstein speakeasies, if you will, on Twitter or X.
Yeah.
And I got to listen to Dr. Disrespect talk to these two twins, and everyone was respectful. Dr. Disrespect wasn't that disrespectful, but I got to I thought it's interesting that you said that, because I started to follow him on Twitter early last night.
Yeah.
It's very strange that you bring that up right now. Now you're sus, you fucker.
So my nephew pointed it out to me. I'm like, who
When?
is Dr. Disrespect? Like
When?
a couple of days ago. And I'm like, who is this person? I'm like, well, it can't be Dr. Disrespect because they're banned from everywhere pretty much.
Man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, man, Twitter is the safe haven. You should it's interesting. They have good what we have speakeasies in the Discord, 30 or 40 of us. They have them on Twitter, and I think you have to be invited as a speaker, right? Yeah. But they have all the listeners there, and you get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 listeners listening to 7 to 9 people talk. It's very interesting.
Yeah. My wife was busy, so she doesn't do YouTube much, but anyway, she just got home she went to a play with her mom. So come here and say hi. Don't do that. Just come here and say hi. It's Ben.
Hi, Mrs. Gates.
Hello.
Yeah, there we go.
Hello, Mrs. Gates.
It's freaking me out because I'm on the wrong side of the screen.
No, you're on the only correct side of the screen. Thank you very much for even gracing us with your presence.
Yeah, she just got home, so that's why I was well, this is a good time to go live on the middle of a Sunday afternoon. So
what's next for you two tonight?
What's next? Chill out, have some pizza. Yep. Nothing
That's
much.
what I'm talking about. Have some pizza. Are you gonna watch a movie tonight?
Probably not. I just got done at a play.
She just went to a play, so probably not. Movies not her thing.
I just went.
Was that Hawaii?
What?
No, it was 9 to 5.
Oh, 9 to 5. Well, that's a lot different than Hawaii.
It's a musical. Yeah.
All right. I was gonna try to bring this back to Lost, and now I can't. So
yeah. So the funny thing is, so ask her how many movies she's watched recently.
How many movies have you watched?
More than I care to mention.
What's the first thing you ask me when we start watching?
What is this about? Why are we watching this movie?
Is it what connected?
Fenn connected.
Oh boy.
I'm connected. Fenn connected.
Oh boy. Yes. This sounds like Ashley Power circa early 2021. I understand this feeling. Listen, it will subside. You will come to the other side and you will love it.
Okay.
She goes, okay.
Okay. That's what Ashley Power 2021 would have said. Okay.
This has been since 2019 for us. So
well, then that actually only proves my point even more. 2021's more important. Never mind. I don't want to get you into it until you're into it. But you tell us when you're into it, and I'll explain it to you.
All right. Do you know?
Now she's in. Now she's in.
Yeah. What'd you say, hon?
Do you know it rained and the garage is open?
The garage is open? Did I not close it? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I was doing some
great reason to end the stream.
Yeah. Shoot, the garage is open. It rained. Oh, that's not good.
That's it.
I was doing some. I had a little bit of time to do some yard work before she left. I wasn't on time to get on live, so I was like, "Oh, I'll do some yard work." I did some jackhammering and lumberjack stuff, so I got that out of the way and got that done.
Ugh, I get it, man. Well, you do you.
Hey, thanks for coming on again. Everybody out there in YouTube land, be safe, be kind, be positive, and have fun. That's what it's all about.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.